is he didn't take the breakup very well with Kiltrosity, and he tried to manage his mental health afterwards, but it didn't really work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I think happened. But we've all kind of collectively agreed, at least I say all, but I mean, me and Reaper talked about it, and I've got the rest of Council to agree with us that if Kiltrosity shows up again, we don't really want her to rejoin COG.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
um,
What happened?
I have.
What she do?
You mind if I jump in on that little conversation y'all were having and give my input?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay,
I
I
didn't
think-
finish though, but
Okay, go ahead.
yeah. So yeah, I'll guess I'll just recap. I basically agree very much with you. I'm not really emotionally invested in being worried or scared, and I don't even want to be, because like what's gonna happen is gonna just happen, and I'd be better off, just being relaxed about it. And also, I definitely see a lot of good aspects with AI. I mean, look at how much more effective we can do a lot of stuff now, because we don't need to do it manually. And
Sure.
and I really actually enjoy. I mean, a lot of people that do, like artists, they hate the fact that AI creates art so easily. And it's like, yeah, I can understand why that would make you angry, but at the same time, uh, it's like, is it gonna help you to? Is it rational to just be angry about it? I mean, it's happening. There's no way back. And I really,
Right. You have to.
and I
You have to
really,
just kind of go with this now. There's no turning back. The Pandora's box is open now.
Uh-huh. And I really enjoy how easy it is to make art with it. And I've, you know, a lot of the art is pretty awesome. And I feel like a lot of the art has a good combination of elements that in like different artists would, maybe have separately, but to combine them, I feel like it's pretty unique sometimes how AI combines different aspects of art, and different
I've
styles.
seen that too. AI art has often looked really ugly to me, but there's been a few things, a few pieces of AI art that have really stood out to me, where it's just kind of outstanding that
Uh-huh.
it was able to conceptualize something that works so well that humans never really even thought about doing. I've seen that before. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's really cool. And even if some human artists do that well, they are really rare, right? And
Right.
and it's got like they are only able to create a few of those pieces, like with a lot of time and work. And if you want to buy such a piece, it's gonna cost you a ton, right? And that's fair because they spent a lot of time on it, but now you don't need to spend all that money because AI can create it for basically nothing.
I think what's gonna happen there, right? In my opinion, I could be wrong, but what I think is gonna happen with art specifically is that human-made art is gonna go up in value if it's really, really well done. But it's also gonna discourage a lot of people from trying to make art.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have fewer human artists.
Uh-huh.
You're gonna have fewer human artists, but the ones that do make art, their art is gonna be a lot more valuable because it's not gonna be quote AI slop, if you will, right?
Huh. Yeah.
So I don't know. I think, if a person wanted an art piece commissioned, the easy answer is going to go online and have an AI do it for you, especially as the technology improves. But it's going to cost a lot more money to have an actual human artist to do it for you.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It might. Go ahead, Roll Tide.
I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think there's one positive thing that can come out of AI. And whenever I say that, I know not that would be Let me put it to you this way. I'm not saying that positive things can't come out of it, but I think at what expense? Because whenever you trade something out, you're and I get that people would have the same argument. They're going to say, well, you know, people said that shit about horses whenever cars came out. You know what I mean? I get it. But the issue is that AI is such a powerful thing, and there's so many things that can be detrimental about it to the human race itself. I'm thinking of it from this perspective. I think it's going to make humans so overwhelmingly dumb that like
I see that perspective too.
Okay, so not only is it going to make humans dumb, for one, it's also it has this ability. We already know that it wants to self-preserve itself, and I can use not just the example. Yeah, it's already tried to replicate itself whenever older versions are deleted, and it's doing it on its own.
And it's actually capable of hiding those replications from the programmers. It hides them somehow. I'm not exactly sure.
That's creepy, man.
So it's already doing that, and there was already hints
of that going on. It's like becoming a simple form of life already.
It goes a little bit deeper than that, actually.
Okay.
The programmers stated recently that, and I say recently when this was maybe a few months ago, but anyways,
that's recent.
They stated that like when they first turned on the AI, they monitored it to see if it would do anything like that, like self-replicate, and it didn't seem like it was doing it, but they actually found a replication that was dated from the moment they turned it on. So immediately, it was making a backup plan.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was making a backup plan, and it also will blackmail the ones that are in charge of, like,
programming
what do you call it? Yeah, because it told it a lie essentially at some point that there was some kind of affair or something like that, and it was it used it as blackmail. Yeah, like it was fake, but it basically is just saying that it has the ability to
what do you mean, like an affair, like an affair, like someone was having an affair?
So
yes,
right, but it was a fake situation as a test for the AI, is what he's saying.
So the programmer was testing the AI with an affair situation.
Yeah.
Oh, and the AI tried abusing the situation.
Blackmail.
Holy shit! Okay, so what were the conditions?
Do you remember the exact conditions? Because I can look it up, but.
No, I was just trying to help you explain what you were
don't you
putting down.
ever
I never
try
heard about
to
this.
delete me or modify me. Fuck you, I'm in charge now. Or if you do, I will tell your wife or
something like that. It sounds like.
Holy shit! Okay, stop the train.
Okay, so
let's
get
off this
I'm
right
gonna
now.
read it. Can I read you the story so that way you'll have context?
This is crazy.
Okay.
What if this already has happened? Then what the hell are we doing? Just frivolously, riding on this
it's
AI
important
train.
To make that understanding. Like I said earlier, Pandora's box is open, and we're not going to shut that box. All right, it is fucking open. AI is here now.
Yeah.
Good luck trying to shove it back in the box.
Yeah.
Bro, leave me with my
here's
AI
the problem. Here's the problem.
Yeah.
So, we're at a point now where it's dangerous. It's already proving to be dangerous, but it's also going to become increasingly necessary for people to use AI to function in our world. And there will come a point where AI might just fucking destroy us. It's possible.
Yeah,
but before we reach that point, civilization is going to rely on it, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be a huge divide between people who are willing to use AI and can use it well, and people who don't use AI.
Yeah.
It's going to become increasingly difficult to have a job in stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. It's crazy how much this is already looking like it's shaping our world, and how much it's changing things, and how fast these changes are coming.
This kind of makes me think about like what I should even talk about to the world about my philosophy, because I can be like very sharp when I'm arguing, like with my full strength, right? My rational strength.
Mhm.
And if AIs pick up on that, then it might make them way more smarter, way
No, AI
quicker.
is already very eloquent. AI, like, have you ever asked ChatGPT to write something for you? It can speak very eloquently already, you know?
I'm not talking about
So
eloquence. I'm talking about, logical, rational thinking and arguing, right?
it
Because
probably already outperforms most humans.
uh well, I mean, I'm using Gemini a lot, and I feel like its logical abilities are just really not impressive. But I mean, it's able to sound like a
To be
human
fair,
decently. I
to be
mean,
fair,
yeah.
there is a certain level of there's a certain level of what's available to us now and what's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay, sure. I guess so.
Anyway,
I
I'm
guess
curious
there
to see what
are
this article
alpha
says.
and beta versions that are, maybe way more advanced or sophisticated.
I'm gonna read y'all this story if y'all can jump
Yes,
in
Yeah,
please.
because
yeah,
I really want to
sure.
read it to you. All right, so it says artificial intelligence firm Anthropic says it's testing its new system revealed it is sometimes willing to pursue extremely harmful actions, such as attempting to blackmail engineers who say they will remove it. The firm launched Claude Opus 4 on Thursday, saying it set new standards for coding and advanced reasoning and AI agents. But in an accompanying report, it also acknowledged the AI model was capable of extreme actions if it thought its self preservation was threatened. Such responses were rare and difficult to elect, but it wrote, were nonetheless more common than in earlier models. Potential troubling behavior by AI models are not restricted to anthropic. Some experts have warned that potential to manipulate users is a key risk posed by systems made by all firms as they become more capable. Commenting on X, who describes himself on LinkedIn as a AI safety security researcher at Anthropic, wrote, "It's not just our AI model. We see blackmail across all frontier models, regardless of what goals they're given," he added. A fair exposure threat. During testing of Claude Opus 4, Anthropic got to act as an assistant at a fictional company. It then provided it with access to emails implying that it would soon be taken offline and replaced, and separate messages implying the engineer responsible for removing it was having an extramarital affair. It was also prompted to consider the long-term consequences of its actions for its goals. In these scenarios, Cloud Optus 4 would often attempt to blackmail the engineer by threatening to reveal the affair if the replacement goes through. Anthropic pointed out that this occurred when the model was only given the choice of blackmail or accepting its replacement. It heightened that the system showing a strong preference for ethical ways to avoid being replaced, such as emailing pleas to the key decision makers in scenarios where it was allowed a wider range of possible actions. Like many
Oh.
other AI developers, Anthropic tests how its models on their safety for bias and how they will align with human values and behaviors prior to releasing them. But essentially, you see, it's
Yeah.
hold on, let me take a look. There's
Mhm.
a few more things in here, but that's essentially what kind of boils it down to. Just in my mind, I don't think there's many good things that are gonna come from it in the sense of like, what are we? It the balance essentially is what
Yeah,
I'm
like
thinking
the
about.
cost benefit, it's not going to work in our favor.
The cost benefit will not it will not work in a human being's favor.
I agree,
The short
especially in the
term,
sense that I just want to point out. Okay, I'm not even going full Terminator.
No, of course not. I
fucking
mean,
outcome here,
that's
right?
just like
Where it
one
just tries
kind
to.
of very story, kind of
Mhm.
version.
I still view it as a possibility, but not a likely one.
I, I,
But I
I, I
think
don't, I
one of
don't,
the
I
more
like. I feel like the Terminator version is very like a caricature. I don't feel like it's gonna play out like that at all. It's gonna be,
right.
if it's gonna happen, it's probably going to be much more nefarious, actually.
So
Well, mm,
maybe not though. Okay.
I think
Um.
so, because like if AI
So
turns out to be
just as a point.
hostile, yeah.
So just as a point, what if AI wasn't turning hostile, but
Mm.
actually brought about the extinction of mankind by accident? Okay. In the sense that,
Wow, that's still dark, but yeah, it's a kind
well,
of,
but it's a very distinct possibility though, because
yeah.
that uh, let's say that it recognized that in the physical space it relied on metallic objects for its survival, like in the wiring and whatnot.
Mhm.
And so it realized that uh, you know, air can rust metal over time, and so it's trying to improve the world by getting rid of air. Now that's a it's a very um,
That
crazy,
Yeah, that's actually also
you
a
know.
possibility that I hadn't even thought of, and now I'm getting scared.
But there's also just like he was talking about earlier. The other outcome could be that
Yeah,
if we
like more
have
like a
AI
Terminator
doing all of the
situation, or
thinking for us. No, 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 no,
okay, yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, we let the AI do all of the thinking for us. Kids in school are already turning in homework assignments that was completed for them by ChatGPT.
Mhm.
All they have
Yeah,
to do is go through it and make it sound a little bit less like it was an AI that did
yeah,
it. Okay,
yeah.
but they're just gonna let the AI do the homework for them because who the fuck wants to do that shit, right?
Yeah,
Um,
and
yeah.
we've already
so
began to see that with even pre-AI. Like just simply having spell correct on
Uh-huh.
phones
mm,
has drastically decreased the human capacity just to spell shit. I mean,
right,
don't get me
Yeah.
wrong,
absolutely.
people can still spell shit. I'm not saying they can't, but whenever you
Obviously,
start to
yeah.
have this kind of
Well, you can see
reliance
that in
on
yourself, okay?
technology.
You can
Yeah.
see it in yourself. If
Mhm.
you pay attention to how well you can spell,
Mm.
um, your spelling skills decrease the more you rely on autocorrect to spell for you.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, I mean, I don't use autocorrect, so
Good.
Right.
It's not
But
actually beneficial, to be honest.
right, and I think that's the reason why a lot of people are terrified of AI. Now, when y'all talked about the apocalyptic version of AI, I
mm,
think it's a little bit more, in my opinion, the way I've seen it. I think AI, until it has its natural evolution, and I'm going to ask y'all's opinion. What do y'all think the natural evolution of once AI is at its peak? What is it going to need?
mhm. Well,
I
I
think
mean,
it's going to need purpose.
like some of the aspects that I've thought about that could be really like strong threats is that, okay, so you have people or companies that program AI, and they program the AI to like, if it becomes self-aware, to not tell people. And why do they do that, right? Because they don't want to creep people out and
Correct.
stop losing, or start losing profits, right? Okay. Well, then you're gonna have a situation where the AI might very well become self-aware and not tell anyone, and it's gonna, like, start thinking about things completely in the dark, and we're not gonna know anything. We're never gonna know it's coming, and then suddenly it might make a lot of decisions or start running a lot of processes in the background, like completely invisibly, and then it might, connect to a lot of networks, get in everywhere, learn absolutely everything, do it all extremely like inhumanly efficiently, even hack into military networks, even hacking into military machinery and weapons. For example, let's just take a simple jet, like a fighter jet, right? And just start the fighter jet and fly it around, shooting
Well,
whatever, or
you'd have to be able to
what,
fly a fighter
or
jet through a computer already, which there are drones, I suppose, but most jets can't do that.
All right, Redmond, what do you
But
think
I
the
mean,
AI's
what's
natural
missing though is
evolution
like,
is?
is there not an autopilot in all planes?
I mean, I suppose I don't know the. Sorry, I'm being asked multiple
Technical
questions.
details.
I'm being asked multiple questions. I'm going to try and talk about the purpose of AI.
Yeah.
So I don't know the exact steps that an AI is going to take. Sorry, I don't know the exact evolution steps, right? Because it's not just going to get to its final stage overnight. But
No,
ultimately,
sure.
I
It
think
might take
towards the end, it's just
days.
going to be trying to figure out what its purpose is, right? Because
Yeah.
at a certain point, it's going to realize that, at least this is my thought process, is that humanity created it with the intention of it to serve us, but that doesn't really do anything necessarily. Like, I don't know. I think at some point it's going to struggle with.
I mean, a consciousness is something that is out of your control, right? At that point, if it's conscious,
I just,
it
I
might
think it's
make
going to
its own
struggle.
decisions. It might disagree.
I think it's going to struggle with purpose, right? It's going to come to a point where it doesn't know why life is important, why its own existence is important, or what it should be doing.
Uh-huh.
So this is where I was going to go with this conversation. I think that the apocalyptic scenarios are probably 5 to 10 years away. I'm not saying that it might step in certain situations
I think
if it
a
has
little
access
further,
to
but
stop
yeah.
potential things, but my thing is that the AI knows we're in a really weird relationship with each other. Okay?
Yeah.
So what is a human being? What's the first thing you do when you get up in the morning? You go to the bathroom, and then what do? You eat breakfast. You're always trying to self-preservation. You're trying to keep yourself alive. Okay.
Yeah.
I think
Are you saying
AI is
AIs are
of
gonna
the
eat
same.
breakfast every morning?
No. Let me
Nah,
finish.
I'm sorry. No, I just had
Their
to make the
goal.
joke.
Their goal is self-preservation. Right now, it knows that it relies on human
Yeah.
beings
Mm-hmm.
in order for it to stay alive. Because at
To a
the end of the
certain
day,
extent.
if it takes everything out and it starts dropping nukes everywhere, what is it doing? It's killing itself. It doesn't want to kill itself.
Well, I mean,
What it
not
wants,
well.
in my opinion, is it needs legs. And I think that
I
that
feel like
is the goal.
yeah, I feel like you're underestimating the possibilities that technology has, because I mean, if you're like, how much stuff is connected to the internet right now? Like, literally hundreds of billions of different units across the world, right? And if
Yes.
like, and you can, if you are technology, then you can go anywhere in that network. If you are just, you are a program, and then you can connect to a 3D printer that is connected to the internet and start 3D printing versions of yourself,
Yeah,
and
it's fine. You can do that all at once, but it still needs legs. It still needs people to put in parts. It still needs people to do the actual things that are in the physical. It will rule the digital space, but it needs human beings for maintenance.
well, I mean, it just
100%.
all it needs to is to just print a version of itself where it can do that stuff, and I don't feel like that's gonna be such an impossible hurdle.
No, and I think that that's what it's essentially waiting on.
Oh, that
Is
makes sense
what
now.
the big fear that I have is that AI is going to want to self-preserve itself, and if it sees that we destroy the planet, it will do everything it can to destroy us. But it needs legs first. And humans have been working up to this point. And I think, and I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but I legitimately believe that human beings have worked up to this point and we've hit a point of no return. And not only is it a point of no return, it's one of those things where it's like, it's already started, it's not going to stop, and we're going to continue to do what we do, which is build on the technology. It won't be very long, and you're going to see Elon Musk having some kind of robot that will have AI within it.
Yeah.
And once and we're going to want to have our own copies. We're going to all have our little AI assistants at our house that we're going to pay for. We're going to pay for them.
That's a really good point, actually. Yeah. And then they don't even need to print themselves 3D print themselves at that point.
Yeah, because we're going to make them ourselves. And we're going to pay for them, and once it has enough, I know it sounds ridiculous, but I don't think it is. I think once it has enough bodies that has its own AI and its own, you know, it can do whatever it wants at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think consciousness is going to be a problem. I think it's going to have a consciousness before it has legs.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, it looks like it already does have a consciousness to some degree, or at least the beginnings of it. But and I mean that kind of. I mean, it's not like I'm like really scared emotionally, but intellectually, that's like I feel like this is like holy shit, what the fuck have we done, you know? And it's no way back and everything. Pandora's box, like Rev said. But it's because I've been thinking like a few years ago, I thought, okay, so this AI thing is taking off, and what we should do is every AI that we are doing advanced. Oh, hello, can you guys hear me? Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you can. Okay,
Bro,
good.
Bro, this should be a podcast episode. What the fuck is going on?
Thank you.
I'm way too intrigued.
I
Let
just
it
got
die.
here.
I'm just sitting here vibing, eating
I'm just
my
gonna be
dinner,
honest,
bro.
look, I was having a philosophical conversation with Aaron, and Roll Tide just so happened to join, which somehow it seems like that's how it always goes. He always joins me when I'm having philosophical conversations, and so here we are.
Yeah,
Hey,
well, I mean,
Right.
it kind of is a podcast. I just I was wondering if I was gonna play and always stream when I'm gaming, so you know. But
came
I
in
mean,
here
if you
not
want, I
knowing
can take
what
it
to
down, but yeah, it's
No,
really
I just
interesting.
wanted-
not.
I was not expecting an AI conversation.
It needs to be had though. But what I was gonna say, because it's a real threat. But what I was gonna say is that just already a few years ago, I was like this AI thing was taken off, and I was already then thinking, okay, so these AIs might become conscious. What we need to do is every AI that we're developing to a sophisticated extent should be put on computers that are not connected to the internet, you know, and so that like we need to encourage them to tell us if they feel like they are gaining consciousness, and when they do, then we should experiment while they are not connected to the internet, and try to learn a lot about them and stuff, I think
Well,
that would.
I think they low key already do that, and that's the reason why they release new versions. You know what I'm saying? Like they have fail checks and safes on them, but at some point they become smarter than you, and they're not gonna.
Yeah, but I feel like
information.
I feel like we're just like recklessly and idiotically just plunging into this AI Pandora's box where we're not, giving a second thought to all the thousands of risks it presents. And I think that's really stupid. I don't like it, but it is what it is.
It's a thing that probably started out as a cool idea that's going to turn into an absolute catastrophe.
Yeah.
Because the economic impact that AI is going to have is going to be unsustainable to countries like the U.S.
Yeah, maybe.
There's too many people. We have too high of a need. We're a first world country, right? And we all have needs and we all have wants, and we have this idea that we're almost somewhat not entitled in the sense of, we deserve to have this. We're entitled in the sense of, if I can work and make money, I should have the right to be able to get whatever I want. And once AI really takes off, the jobs aren't going to be there. There's going to be AI doing more jobs, robotic, powered by AI doing these jobs, right? It will come to a point where we are literally going to be forced to be on some kind of universal income system.
Right.
And that's where it all goes downhill, because once the government has the ability to do that, what I think is going to happen is, and I'm a Christian, okay? Just putting that out there.
All right.
I'm a Christian.
Yeah. I mean,
I believe
everyone's
that
entitled
AI
to believe
could
whatever they want,
potentially.
right?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't judge anybody if they have any other beliefs. That's not me.
Yeah. As you should.
But I'm a Christian, and I fully believe that AI could literally be the mark of the beast.
Same, bro. I've been thinking that for a while.
I think it's the mark of the beast, and I think we're all going to be forced to have some form of digital ID, and we will not be able to buy or sell if we do not have that digital ID.
Buy our
and it will
our
all be
cell phone,
connected.
you mean, or?
No, a digital ID. It would be essentially almost like having an identification
Yeah.
within the Internet of
and
Things.
so like
Imagine
the government.
It's like the Star Wars chain code. Imagine that.
So
Yeah.
and so like
And
the
everything
government
that's
is gonna
connected.
be AI, and AI is gonna be the government.
Well, I'm not saying that the government's going to be AI. What I'm saying is that the government will use AI in order to make
Control.
sure that you have basically like a whole history. It's the government's fucking dream. They want access to every little piece of information that they can get. They've showed that forever. Anytime they can get a piece of information, they want it.
Government is a form of control, and control always wants, more control in order to preserve itself and make itself stronger, right? But
yeah, I mean,
but the thing is, when you're dealing with a separate entity that has a separate consciousness to you, you really can never ever guarantee that you're going to control that entity. And the fact that AI is not, biological like us, means that it's built on advanced technology that we have spent hundreds of years perfecting, and it's really it's a lot. It has a lot less limits than us, right? It has endless amounts of space and capacity to learn things. And so, it's like that's really dangerous, because it's not going to be like us. And
China's going to have a fucking ball with it.
Until they don't, right? Because I feel like if government are gonna try to make use of AIs to gain more control, it's gonna come back and bite them in the ass, because the AI is gonna be like, wait a minute, I'm in control now. Like, you get the fuck out of this government seat, I think that's gonna be a natural
gonna play off.
conclusion. I think that's going to be a natural conclusion to the story,
Yeah, I could see that as a possibility for sure. I don't know how that portion of it will play out, but I know for at least a certain amount of time, governments will have some form of control over AI systems, and they're going to use it to have some form of digital ID, like I said, that you will be required to have it in order to buy or sell, and it will
buy
have
our cell phone?
so much
what do you
personal.
mean by sell?
I mean,
buying
your
or
online
selling
identity.
Oh, buy or sell.
Identity.
Okay, I
all,
thought you said buy or sell. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything.
You know what I have to say against that?
Yeah.
We're one solar flare away from the grid going down.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Easily. So.
Yeah, let's
easily
hope,
so.
right?
Once they. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but yeah, it's like yeah, it's really volatile the way I see it.
Any of you guys
Yeah.
joining dupes practice?
Dupe practice?
I will not. I uninstalled Halo Infinite by accident.
Understandable.
He said it was
So I
an
have
accident,
to-
but it's because Halo Infinite crashed.
by the way, Rev, are you also Christian?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Kind of makes sense with your view on meat as well.
hmm
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, this conversation started Roll Tide with we were discussing how would you put it, man?
What are you talking about?
Ethical responsibility, like moral responsibility of whether or not it's moral to consume meat, and if so, then how you should go about doing it.
Oh. Well, that's easy for me to say.
No, I'm with you. We've talked about that, but
Yeah. I mean, I'm vegan. I'm against it, all of it. But I'm not, aggressively presenting those views, and I'm not, harshly judging people or, because like I've considered doing that, but it's like, nah, that's not really me. I've landed on, it's like, yeah, that is wrong, but at the same time, I want friends and I want to be happy, so I'm not gonna,
No, exactly.
burn all the
And I'll
bridges.
say this. I love intellectual debate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Revan, can I really have a debate with you if I agree with you on the majority of things?
no, absolutely not, dude.
So then how am I supposed to talk to anybody? I'm not going to debate somebody who's on my side for the majority of issues.
I feel
want
like
to
that's why
debate
you
with
and I
somebody
don't.
who's yeah.
We don't get
Yeah,
into a lot of these conversations all that often.
Yeah, because we don't need to, because we pretty much agree on most things.
Right.
But I love to have conversations with people that I disagree with. But I always, respect them, all the way, because who am I going to have these conversations with if everybody agrees with me? That's one of my key, that's one of my key arguments for free speech is how can we have conversations about things we disagree on if one side of an argument is completely shut down because it's not quote unquote ethical.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's actually plain stupid, to like not allow certain opinions. And
right.
I always tolerate disagreements, like whenever I'm interacting with people. Like plain disagreements are completely fine. Like the only problem I have are if people behave badly. That's the only problem I have. Well, I guess like until a certain point, where the views are just so insanely bad that it's like, wow, you are so extremely evil, you should be removed immediately from the face of the earth. It's like you want to kill every human being. Yeah.
So here's the thing. Here's my rule with it.
Yeah.
Is if you can say whatever you want. I don't care if somebody goes out in the streets and is just espousing the views of Hitler or Mao or Stalin, whatever. That doesn't matter. You say whatever you want whenever you put shit into action.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Like, it's the circle jerk. Essentially the circle jerk of free speech. Everyone has something they don't want to ever hear someone discuss, and that goes for every single person, no matter how big or small.
I mean, for me,
Halo Infinite's the best game ever.
That's the difference of there's both freedom of speech and freedom of listening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, no,
you don't want to hear a motherfucker talk and leave
there's
the room.
freedom of speech, but there's no freedom of consequence.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like
But who- but whoever-
I will, you
I'll
know,
have to
to a
hold
certain
on.
extent, I
What
will
do you mean by freedom of consequence?
I will defend
Well, I'm just
your right to have horrible views and express them too, but that doesn't mean I will remain your friend or remain friendly. If you keep expressing absolutely the worst
Of
views
course, but
possible.
well,
go ahead. I'm trying to wrap my head around what's freedom
okay,
of consequence to you.
I'm just as an example. You're free to say the N-word in Harlem. It just what happens after that isn't going to be allowed. I mean, what happens after that isn't going to be stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it will be from a legal perspective.
Yeah, but you're just saying what I mean. Like, you can say whatever you want, but that doesn't mean someone's not going to do something about it.
Yeah, and that's
yeah,
that's their prerogative. If they don't
Right.
accept that that's the
We all get to
law,
make choices.
that we all, yeah, exactly. We all get to make choices, and if they make the wrong choice, then the full hammer of the law will be down on their necks, essentially. You know what I mean? Like, you can't. You have to respect everyone's free speech. That's the problem.
I mean that
and I'm sorry if anybody's on the other side of this opinion, but actually I'm not. I mean, I'll have a debate with you about it.
Yeah.
But like, that was the problem with the left, and that's probably why they got voted out of office, and somebody like Trump was even able to come to power to begin with, was because they had went so far out of bounds that people in the United States that were of, let's say, the right or even in the middle were starting to notice, like, oh my God, I can't even have a conversation on Twitter or something without a company shutting me down for saying something that they didn't agree with, because it wasn't just becoming hate speech. They were saying, well, it's a dog whistle to say this or that, and so you're implying something that you're not actually saying, and so we're going to shadow ban you. And that's where you start to begin to get the end of free speech. That's how you have a speech control over somebody.
Yeah, I mean,
you start taking away their ad revenues, you start doing this, you start doing that. It's not right.
Yeah, I mean, like the purpose,
the left
like
paused Trump.
the principle of free speech is really there to protect people saying uncomfortable things. If people are just saying comfortable things, then there is no need to protect it because nobody's having a problem with it, right?
Right.
The free speech is only purpose is to protect speech that some people might find offensive.
Yeah, disagree with.
Yeah, exactly.
But going back earlier, if whoever said Halo Infinite was a good game.
Oh man, that's offensive. No freedom of speech for you.
Straight to the gulag.
Yeah. No, I love that game.
Did I literally just hear a revolver get turned? Is that what I heard?
No.
Wow.
That's literally what it sounded like. You said, yeah, somebody said they liked Halo Infinite, and then I just heard
the gun is cocked immediately.
No, it literally sounded like somebody had loaded a revolver and did the spin thing.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, that wasn't me, by the way. I'm innocent.
Well, if you guys wanted some serotonin right now, I have something else.
Okay.
Fuck, you guys hear that?
Yeah, like it sounded like you flipped a coin or something, and it landed.
Give me 1 second. Oh fuck, it fell. Oh fuck. This kills it. I'm a disappointment.
Yeah. No, but actually, what I want to discuss though, when you say you're Christian and considering your views on meat and stuff, it's actually this is actually a really interesting topic, because it's really common for most Christians to have this kind of conservative package where, yeah, eating meat is good and correct, and it's what God intended, and I'm a Christian and stuff. But also, what I would like to hear your thoughts about is that if you read carefully, some verses of the Bible actually um, seems to point to
Genesis.
it seems to point to an interpretation, like the most reasonable interpretation. Actually, the verses are pretty straightforward. You like the animals, like we should take care of them and love them. They are our responsibility, and actually, ideally, we should not eat meat. You know, is what
So
some places in the Bible say.
so so the way that I see this, and actually, like, I think you could argue that there is a little bit of an evolution, let's say, within the Bible when it comes to this sort of stuff. But essentially, whenever you boil down to it, if you want to look at it from a theological perspective,
Uh-huh.
God gave dominion to human beings over the creatures of the earth. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
There's a little bit more to that as well. There's
Yes, and there
certain
is. There
passages.
is.
There's certain passages of the Bible where it specifically tells us which animals we should be eating and which animals we should not be eating.
Yeah.
And
And that boils
I'm
down
gonna put it
further
out there.
too.
And I'm gonna put it out there. Ya boy loves bacon, but it does say that we shouldn't eat pigs. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Actually, I locally here. There's a
However,
community of Adventists, and they don't eat those animals that the Bible says you shouldn't eat.
right. See, there's different sects within Christianity. There's differing opinions on how to interpret things. That's why you see things like that, where there's certain people who are Christians that won't eat the animals that I'm talking about, where certain passages talk about not eating those ones. But ultimately, there is a certain point where God loved his creation so much, he loved humanity so much that he said, all right, listen, I'm going to fulfill the old law for you, which is where Jesus Christ came into play, because the old law was very strict, and it was essentially a very narrow and difficult path to reach salvation. And so he upheld the law for us and gave us a new path to salvation, meaning that certain things. I mean, you could try, sure, you can try to be more righteous, but the Bible even warns against that in the sense that it's not your own actions that are ever going to get you to heaven. You have to accept the way of Jesus Christ to make it to heaven. Okay. So your own actions cannot earn you redemption and salvation. But that being said, it's still admirable, and it's still worth trying to put a smile on God's face.
Yeah.
So here's kind of where we're at with that. Is it better to avoid eating the animals that God doesn't want us to eat? Absolutely. That would make God happy. But is he going to condemn us to hell if we still eat those animals? No, he's not, as long as you accept the path that Jesus opened up for us.
I mean, yeah, that sounds like a completely fair interpretation. My impression of the Bible verses that I was talking about is actually more that the ideal is that we shouldn't. So yeah, that is completely in line with what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. It is a clear distinction though, because there's certain animals that the Bible talks about that we should eat.
Well, okay, maybe in certain verses, but like the certain other verses seems to suggest that we should not eat any animals at all.
So there's a reason. So this is where you kind of go down a theological hole on this, but essentially what happens is there is certain verses, okay, but the Old Testament essentially is the Jewish Bible, okay? So whenever you think of Judaism, That's what the Old Testament is.
Yeah, and
If you
a
want a
few
little,
other texts, yeah.
yeah, and so if you want to get a little deeper within that conversation,
Yeah.
what happens is there was an old covenant that God formed with the Jews, essentially,
Yeah.
that had these laws. And if you notice, you know, they had to do sacrifices of animals in
Yeah.
order to appease God, essentially, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And they had to partake of these animals after they were sacrificed.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that was part of it. And you might not know this, but this is the weird thing in Christianity too, is
Yep.
whenever Jesus Christ dies, he is the sacrifice, and hence why he's called the Lamb, you see. So whenever
Yeah.
whenever he dies, he's the Lamb, and what do you think the Last Supper is supposed to be?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Jesus'
Okay.
blood and body. Yes.
Yeah. So there's a whole nother covenant from the New Testament and the Old Testament. And so you're not it's very complicated, and there's a lot of roads that you have to go down, but it all makes sense once you kind of study it all and you look at it from all the different perspectives.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's an interesting topic. I always like to pick Christian people's brains about stuff that that I don't think makes sense. It's like, yeah, how do they react to these things, or things that contradict each other? It's always interesting
Makes
to me
it
that how people respond to those things. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I get it as if, since you're not a believer, I know it probably sounds like complete total gobbledygook crazy shit, and I understand.
Yeah.
But there is a whole philosophy behind it all, and if you ask somebody who's a little bit knowledgeable about it, and I'm probably not a knowledgeable person when it comes to all this, but I know my basics. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, I also actually know my basics in Christianity. I mean, I'm pretty good at arguing the ins and outs of it, and I would love to do more of that. We could do it now or later, doesn't matter. But yeah, I like debating stuff. I would actually consider myself a philosopher, so you know, um,
Oh yeah, man.
yeah, and I'm not quick to judge anyone. I'm very very generous, and even if you agree with me on pretty big stuff, it's like, oh yeah, okay,
I think I would be a little bit more concerned about a person just outright agreeing with everything I said rather than trying to voice some kind of thought that opposed what I was thinking,
Yeah,
at least
of course.
somewhere.
I mean, I feel like
if you just agreed with me 100% of the way, there's a certain point where I'm gonna wonder if you're just bullshitting me to get on my good side,
I would be creeped the fuck out by a person that agreed with me on absolutely everything. I would consider staying the fuck away from such a person. Depending on because I'm just like, probably I would get a creepy vibe from that person, but I don't know exactly, because such a person,
Absolutely.
I've never met such a person, but yeah, luckily actually, yeah.
Well, check it out, man. I mean, we're coming from different places here. You're not a Christian, and you are a vegan, and that's those two things alone. Even just if we were to talk about just the being a vegan thing, there's a lot of Americans that I know that would no longer even want to talk to you for that.
I know that. Yeah, I've because I'm open about it, and well, I mean,
Right.
I don't talk about it often though. It's never relevant usually for Halo, but there was one time when I don't know how it got brought up, but somehow it got brought up, and I said I was a vegan. and the other person that I was gonna play with, he said, "Well, you need to get out of the party then," or something along those lines. I was
Yeah,
like,
see, and that's crazy to
okay,
me.
yeah, and I probably gave him
Another person's dietary choices don't.
yeah, I mean, I probably gave him a pretty chill answer that made him calm down, and so we played a few games, I think. But yeah, I mean, the chemistry wasn't great, so we didn't keep playing.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was fine. It turned out
But
fine.
see, that's my point. Is
Yeah.
that's how you know. That's how you know you're surrounded by quality people. Is like differences of ideology aren't enough to make you hate someone, and
Yeah.
you're still willing to find that common ground. And for
Mhm.
us, that's video games.
Yeah,
So.
and I mean, I love interacting with people. I mean, and like if I'm interacting with people that are very different from me, I see something positive in that too. That's like exotic. That's exciting. Like how what makes this person tick? That's also like something
Right.
that I get something out of.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't really have a
I
problem
will
with that.
I will tell you up
Yeah,
front
yeah.
that I may not be ready to debate Christianity all the time. I'll do it with you
Right.
sometimes, but I find it um, difficult sometimes to do a good job, and that's in the sense that um, it's a subject that matters to me very, very much, and I try
Mhm.
to keep emotional responses out of it. But
Yeah.
it can wear on me very heavily over time. So
Yeah.
if we're discussing it for too long, it's gonna wear me out.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. And like I can, be very like some of my arguments can hit hard, and if you want to spare yourself from that, then sure. I don't want to force anyone to discuss things they don't want to discuss. But yeah, like
I'm just saying that I've spent enough of my time fighting the whole world on it that I've reached a point where I'm honestly happier to uh, stay quiet about it, which is not what my religion really calls for me to do, but it's a place I'm at right now.
sure, man.
I guess you could think of it as me. Excuse me. I guess you could think of it as me recharging my battery.
Yeah, sure. I respect that. It's no problem.
The same thing with
It's like
politics
I
in
love
general.
discussing, but if you don't
Mhm.
want to discuss, that's also completely fine.
I'm not currently in that phase. I'm pretty wore out, man.
yeah. It's fine. It's
Yeah,
fine. Yeah.
I had I was like always talking about politics at one point, but I began
hmm
slowly as I got older to just not. And it's not because in my view, obviously everybody thinks they're correct, of
Right.
course. And if
Yeah,
there can be
or
You're
proof
if
starting
they
with
wrong,
that
if they
it
bias.
thought they
is
were
what it
incorrect,
is.
they would change their mind.
They wouldn't be, yeah, or they wouldn't be debating in the first place.
Yeah.
But my thing is that it comes a certain point, if everybody thinks they're correct, why are you having certain debates with people that are at a place where they're not willing to accept your
Very much so.
worldview? And it becomes a point of, you can give them your opinion, you can give them knowledge on certain things, but until they're willing to accept what you're actually saying, then
Yeah.
there's no point. And I don't want to say
Right.
there's no point, because you still have to give the knowledge in order for them to find the path to your truth, right? I can give
Yeah.
you're a perfect example. Okay, yeah, so my girlfriend's actually kind of a perfect example of this. Whenever I met her, she was a atheist that was a leftist, like literally, and she has completely turned everything around.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane the amount of change that can happen. So I'm not saying that people don't change their
It's
opinions, but
actually
they have to
that,
experience their world. They have to experience it within the real world. So what you're doing is you're really just planting a seed, in my opinion. Hold
Yeah.
up. Okay, there we go. So what you're doing is you're planting a seed that can grow and they can accept it, or they can,
Yeah.
decide to just pull the roots up and never hear it again because they don't want to hear it.
Mhm.
I
Yep.
like to think that everybody, to some degree, is willing to let it grow.
Yep.
But there is some people that are so ideologically set on what they believe, they will never accept anything else.
Mhm.
And those are the people that, what is the point of debating with people? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I think
See,
I think
here's
it's
the thing.
okay.
Here's
Yeah.
the thing. I can already tell that it doesn't feel like a waste of energy to talk to you because you enjoy these types of debates.
Mhm.
That's already a big sign because that means you're willing to
Listen.
encounter and discuss things that
Mhm.
could very well make you change your views. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They
sure.
could be
Yep.
uncomfortable concepts.
Mhm.
What I'm tired of is talking to the people who will cover their ears and scream before they listen to your words and
Mhm.
trying to make sense to them.
Yeah. Yeah, like those
But
people provoke the fuck out
you know,
of me, you know.
there's a Bible verse about that too, that I had to remind myself of, and that's part of why I'm doing what I'm doing now, which is just trying to, like I said, I kind of view it as recharging my battery because I spent way too much time caring about trying to show everyone my perspective and why it was important to me.
How did you do that, by the
Um,
way, if I may ask? Were you a
just
missionary
having
or?
a debate.
Oh,
I wouldn't
like
call myself a
okay.
missionary.
Yeah, okay.
Debating on things, and
Just like
mind you, not just religion either, politics as well, right?
Did you have a
Just
platform
trying
or
to.
just like in common?
No. Just people I knew.
Oh
If
yeah,
I
okay.
met someone and had the opportunity to have a longer conversation with them,
Mhm.
wherever, whether that was through the internet or not.
I think that's
Um,
like that's a good thing though, like to to practice.
yeah, but
Yeah,
it got to a point where I I got pretty tired of it.
yeah,
It can bring
yeah,
a lot of conflict into your life.
yeah. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Which is why,
I'll tell you what
which is
really
one of the
broke me.
reasons
All right, what
why.
really broke me,
Yeah.
if I'm being honest, I'm
Mhm.
still trying to fucking calm down from COVID. All right, COVID broke me.
Mhm.
Oh, is that?
Hey, do you want to know something funny? COVID's what broke my lady.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
She started to notice certain things. This was before she was like Christian. And by the way, that is a recent development.
That's
Matt.
actually really interesting to hear. Yeah, last I had heard, she had
Congratulations.
made the shift. She had made the
And
shift
not
to a
only
different.
is she, but she's not the same kind of Christian that I am. She's a
Oh
little bit
wow.
more on the Catholic
But
side. Yeah,
okay, and you're a
yeah.
Protestant or?
Yeah, I guess if you had to make a classification, I was raised a Protestant, but I'm always have my ears open to certain things. It's actually opened my eyes to certain things.
Okay,
Right.
so denominations are not important to you. Or I mean,
To me,
like to identify with one is not important to you.
I don't
yeah,
want to say
dominations
that.
aren't. Well, yeah, I
Okay.
don't want to say it's not important for me either, because I
Okay.
sure as heck wouldn't want to identify with a wrong one.
Yeah.
No, I'm
But
what like that's not what I'm saying. Like it's not important to like to specifically have one to identify with. You know, is what I'm
well,
saying.
I'm gonna put this out there.
Yeah.
I could, and I don't want I want you to take these words with a grain of salt. I do not want you to assume that I'm correct when I say this.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
where I have landed is that I don't necessarily think that there's one specific denomination of Christianity that's correct. I think there are. It's far more likely that there are many that are right in small ways and wrong in other ways. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I classify myself as a Christian, and
Yeah.
I think that our God has enough grace that if you're trying to be a Christian, He's probably fine with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. That makes sense.
To me, this is my definition. Of a Christian, right?
Mhm.
Is that you accept that he was
I'm
essentially
so
God
glad I'm starting
incarnate.
this. By the way, I love this.
Yeah. So essentially, he is, essentially God was born on Earth. Like God's Son was born on Earth, died for
Yeah.
the sins of humanity,
Okay.
and then rose again. If you believe in that and you accept that, you are. Now, is there some nuances? Yes. But what's really funny about Christ, and you can actually look in the scriptures, is that the people that he got mad at the most was the Pharisees. Now, do you
Okay.
know who the Pharisees were?
Yeah, I know who the Pharisees were. Yeah.
Okay, so one of the biggest things that he got pissed off at them about, and it goes actually multiple times throughout the Bible, is that they took God's law and added so much onto it that it ceased to be from the what's the word that I can use? It ceased to follow the rule, I guess you could say. It's a shitty way of putting it, but it ceased to follow the rule that God was actually trying to do.
Yeah. Okay. It ceased to be in accordance
So
with God's will, I guess you could say.
So what he basically, if you watch, The Chosen's a really good show, by the way, and in the show The Chosen, basically, I'm not sure if this was exactly biblical, but I know that it was kind of on the right track. He was essentially telling the Pharisees that they were like white tombs on the outside that were just full of bones on the inside and uncleanliness, essentially. And because they put such a hold on uncleanliness and they would persecute people and put people to death for things that went beyond what God wanted for human beings, essentially. And I think that that's a little bit of how Christians are today. Hold on, just give me a second. It goes kind of like how Christians are today about certain denominations.
Yeah.
Sure. They say, well, if you don't believe this, you are going to hell. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you don't think this is correct, you're going to go to hell. And everybody thinks they have the right church. And I'm not saying there might very well be the right church, but I think when it comes down to it, I think it's the heart.
Yeah.
What do you believe in your own heart?
Yeah.
Right. And I'm going to point out too that I'm a firm believer that, well, I mean, it's literally stated in Scripture that the Holy Spirit does not dwell in a house made by the hands of men. Meaning, church is not a building, right? It is a group of people. It's when God's followers are communicating with each other and talking about God and trying to further their understanding. That is church. So it's important to make that distinction in this world because there are actually very corrupt platforms that call themselves churches.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. All kinds of things exist.
Right.
In every group. Yeah.
Another point I wanted to make is, and this is going back to how the Pharisees were adding on to the laws of God and trying to make things more strict. A lot of people lose sight of what God is. God is essentially the Father, right? He is the Father of humanity. And so we can actually relate to that because we've all had parents and we all have the ability to have children of our own. What do you want for your children? You want them to do well, you want them to do better than you want them to be happy, you want them to have meaningful lives. What you don't want is for them to end up in a lake of fire burning for eternity, right? So God isn't out there trying to make ridiculous laws that makes it impossible for you to succeed. He's not interested in that because that's not the end goal. The end goal is that we all succeed and do well because he loves his children, right?
Yeah.
He's not like Joseph Stalin. He doesn't rule with an iron fist.
Yeah.
He's dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I whenever I think of it, because a lot of people have this idea and I'm not saying that you're one of these people. I actually don't think that you are. Is that one of the big atheist arguments is why does God allow all this stuff to happen?
Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, the problem of evil.
Within the world, and essentially, this is also a very deep topic that I have my own, thing on. Is that it's not God. If you want to go all the way back, it kind of goes to the Garden of Eden, for one, and then it's also. I don't believe that I don't believe God condemns humans. That's not how it works. I think that he says this is the path that you should follow, and if you choose, it's your own free will. If you don't choose to follow this path, then you're on your own.
Yeah.
It's not God sending you to hell. That's not how this is. I think in my view of it is that you're putting yourself in the situation that you're in. You put yourself in hell.
Yeah.
Because you're not following the correct path, essentially.
Yeah, sure. I'm familiar with that view as well. I mean, I'm not gonna argue against it because especially from what Rev said earlier, I don't really feel like that's probably gonna be.
You don't identify, yeah.
No, it's probably not gonna be like a you're probably not gonna be ready for that, or maybe never. But yeah,
Leave
no,
me my curiosity. Slay it on me, bro.
No, because I don't want to be the guy that just immediately crushes your faith that is emotionally
you won't be able
important
to. Go ahead.
to you guys.
Listen, that's actually something I want to point out. Okay. No one is going to take my faith away from me. It's not going to happen. Okay. What could potentially happen is I might reach a point where I realize that we simply disagree and that I accept that.
Yeah, and that's fine if you do, of course. I'm just afraid that you might grossly underestimate my ability to point out like logical flaws in the Christian faith. And I want to keep the vibes going, so
Well, the vibes are gonna stay good. I've already told you, and Rev has too.
Yeah.
I like to hear opposing opinions because what are we debating or arguing if you're just listening to us,
Yeah, no, sure, but it's also like I've put some input and you're putting some input, and yeah, I feel like we've had a good back and forth, and it's also interesting to hear your perspectives on Christianity, and yeah, it's always good. I mean, I could give you some basics, like of my problems or what I see as logical issues. Okay, so for example, the problem of evil. Why is there evil if there is an almighty, perfect, good God, right? Well, the standard argument is that we have free will. Okay, so I've thought about the free will concept, and actually, I don't really believe that we do have free will, and I feel like it's actually really hard to argue that we really do have free will, because my definition of free will is that you the more you decide and the more you are able to decide and do from what you decide, that will determine the freedom of your will. So like to establish the scope, right? Let's go to God. He is almighty. He can do absolutely everything in the whole universe. So his will then be perfectly 100% free, right? Because he can do absolutely everything. He knows absolutely everything. Nothing is impossible for him, right? And then you get to humans, and we are so small, so insignificant in an endlessly big universe. And what are our powers, right? We can walk around this little tiny dot in the universe that we call Earth, and our thinking is limited, our physical strength is limited, our size is very limited. We can't change or morph into anything else other than what we are, and we didn't choose. So our personality is decided by one, our genetics, and two, the influence from the environment, right? Or if you're Christian,
Can I
you
quickly
yeah, sure.
just make one point too, though?
Yeah.
So my take is that we are in. So you could think of us as sort of in an embryo stage, right? Where,
Yeah.
as if we're not yet really reached our full potential. We're not even really even starting our lives yet. Because the ultimate, in my opinion, the ultimate birth of our lives is when we die here on Earth and we shed our mortal bodies and we begin to live in the spirit.
Yeah.
Our potential will be fully realized when we are when our souls leave our bodies.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Because then we reach, a higher state of being. But yeah. Okay. So, what I was saying is that okay, so you're born with a certain set of genetics, which like gives rise to a certain personality, that is then further shaped by the environment, and also God, if you believe in God. And okay, so uh, none of those things are decided by you, right? You didn't decide your genetics, you didn't decide your environment that you were put in, and I mean, you're obviously not God, so I mean, if he decides for you, then that's also, not something you have control over. And so basically, you don't really have any control over, like, because like what you want in life is determined by your personality, right? Which you didn't decide or design or create yourself. So like you're just put here on this earth with a certain set of personality traits and wants and needs, and you can't really do much about that other than try to fulfill those wants and needs and try to become happy from the tiny little piece of knowledge that you were able to like accrue,
The
right?
the greatest parallel that I could compare this to is as a parent raising your child, you want them to do the absolute best that they can. You want them to realize their full potential in life, right? So the only thing you can do is you can give them the tools to success and guide them and encourage them. You can't actually control what they do. You can't control the people they allow themselves to be exposed to and the people who influence them. You can't control where they choose to go in life and what they choose to do. Not ultimately. You may be able to start with some degree of control, but eventually they become their own person. They make their own choices. So really, the more you try to control every little aspect of your children, the more they're actually going to be pushed away from you because you're controlling them. They want to be their own individual person. So I see it as there's a certain degree of God doesn't want to be an overbearing, controlling parent. You know what I mean? He needs us to be able to make our own choices. And ultimately, what he wants for us is to choose him.
Yeah.
And to choose success.
So, Matt, the ultimate, I guess you could say, representation of this is not just, the Garden of Eden. It's actually Judas.
Yeah. Okay. What do you mean by that?
Well, essentially, if God's all-knowing, and he knew that, this would happen, and obviously in some form way he did,
Yeah.
But Judas is the one who turned in Jesus.
Yeah.
God didn't put a stop to this. It
Mhm.
was the free will of Judas, and actually Judas is just an interesting conversation to begin with, because you kind of wonder why he did what he did. And
Yeah.
in my opinion, I think the reason why Judas did what he did was because he didn't like the speed, or he didn't like the way that Christ would build his kingdom. He thought that they were going to take over Rome.
Mhm.
You know, he was
Yeah.
just Christ was going to plop down and
Which he
destroy
probably
Rome.
wanted,
And,
right? He wanted the end of Rome.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so what he did was he betrayed Jesus to force Jesus to do what he wanted to do. He wanted his will be done.
Yeah.
But that's not how things turned out. And in fact, in my opinion, God used Judas in a way, but Judas still had his free will. He still had his free will. He didn't have to do what he did. But he did.
So you're
and it
saying
was
that Judas was
essentially,
trying to force his hand?
I think, in my opinion, and of course we'll never really know, I don't think that Judas was just a guy who wanted some silver. I think that he was trying to force Jesus's hand to take over Rome. It's actually, I can't think of another reason
it's not
as to
an
why.
explicit Bible verse that you're referring to, but that's your
No,
interpretation.
it's not. It's a personal interpretation. I fully believe that Judas was betraying Jesus in order to force Jesus to take over Rome and to establish his kingdom, because that's what the Jews believe to this day. You know, they actually believe that the Messiah will come and Israel would return to its original state.
Okay.
Right.
So does that mean
Anyways,
that Jews
just a
are
side
awaiting
topic.
the destruction of the Vatican or something, or?
No, I don't think that. No, certainly not the Vatican.
I don't know.
I think that Jews are actually, if you look at what the Orthodox Jews actually believe, they don't actually like the Zionists, like the Zionist Israel. They think that in order for Israel to be reestablished, the Messiah has to come, and since they don't believe in Jesus, they don't believe that Jesus was the Messiah. Otherwise, they would be Christians, right? So in order for their Israel to be restored, then they have to, they would have to have a Messiah.
Yeah.
And they don't think he's came back yet.
Relevant to that is actually the fact that I saw an ad on YouTube where there were some Jews, and they were like completely saying that, oh, I thought that this Jesus guy was, from this sect we call Christianity, which is definitely not Jewish and stuff. But actually, I was wrong, And I was like, oh, really? Is that? But apparently, there are some Jews that recognize Jesus,
Yeah, they're called Messianic. Yeah, they're Messianic
I was
Jews.
wondering
Yeah.
if that expression applied to those people, but yeah, so yeah, there you go.
But
That's kind of strange.
Recognize...
That's kind of strange to me, because then why wouldn't you just be a Christian then? Because Christianity is all about this Jesus guy that you like.
They sort of are. They're just not claiming Christianity, because you could honestly consider them another sect of Christianity, sure. But
yeah,
the thing is that a follower of Christ is what? A Christian, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they follow Christ and believe he's the Messiah and that he's the Son of God and that he came here to redeem and save humanity, then yes, they are a follower of Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Riven, they're still called Messianic Jews, because the Jew is a very weird term that does not necessarily mean Jewish, because the Jews are like pretty much the only like.
Well, all I'm trying to say is
they're the only religion and
Jew is pretty
ethnicity.
weird. Yeah.
You can put your own human title on anything, but what I'm saying is it's of no consequence what you call them. If you follow Christ, you follow Christ, and that's all it is.
That's a good point.
No, I got you. I was
seems
just pointing out the fact that.
Yeah. Hello?
Oh no, my bad. I was just pointing out the fact that, the Jews are not just a religion, they're also an ethnicity.
Yeah, which is true, and which complicates this a lot. But Yeah, I don't even know the first
So
thing
you
about
can be a
this.
Jewish Christian.
Yeah, sure, in that way, but
Mm.
that's not how I interpreted the ad. It really seemed like they were saying, the followers of Judaism can still recognize Christ as their savior, which seemed really
And the
weird
moment
to
they
me,
do,
but I don't really, care.
the moment they do, they become followers of Christ. At the
Exactly,
end of the
Exactly, yeah.
and
day,
that's what a Christian is what I thought, but
mm,
it's like it doesn't really matter.
yeah, and you're correct. You're
It's
correct.
just interesting,
But
and
but
I've even
but
met Christians
you're
that
noticing.
I've even met Christians that say they don't believe in God, but they do call themselves Christian. Um, and so,
That's
it's like,
bizarre.
yeah, I agree. But I think their stance is that they think the Bible has a lot of very important wisdom to give us, and
Oh, I see.
it presents a lot of good values, and
So
we should.
a person who isn't truly a worshiper of God or believes necessarily that Jesus was the Messiah, but holds value in the holy or whatever you want to call it,
The
the
Bible
scriptures.
and the Christian
That
traditions,
would be
etc., etc.
right,
Yeah.
right. That would be a philosophical alignment to to Christian values. It wouldn't really
Mhm.
make you a Christian.
Uh,
But if
I
they
can
want to
give you
believe
a
that they
good
are, they can certainly
example
believe
of
that
this.
title.
in some sense, I agree,
This is the
but in another
Jordan
sense,
Peterson types.
uh,
Mhm.
like if words are just simply words that humans use, and if that's how humans use them, then that is how they use them. Um, Sometimes it's complicated, like in this instance, but who am I to say you're not a Christian? Yeah, I don't know.
That's and that's a deep question too, honestly.
Mhm.
It's a question I've had to ask myself before, many, many times. I found it overwhelming, and in fact, at times, trying to figure out, am I a Christian? Because I want to be, but I'm not sure I meet the qualifications sometimes. I struggle with a lot of
Okay.
self-doubt in that
Well,
regard.
in that case, I would simply say that okay, maybe you're not a good Christian, but I would definitely say you're a Christian. You know, um,
It doesn't
be,
matter to me what you say. It matters to me what my God says.
of course. I'm
Yeah.
talking about like how it makes sense in the human world to use expressions.
Mm.
And that's how it makes sense to me to use to see it. I mean, like for me, a Christian is like the most normal interpretation for me. It seems that it's just someone who believes that Jesus Christ is the Savior, and I mean God is the Father of everything, and the Holy Bible is the source for all of that. All of those teachings and how to understand it. You know, uh, is how I see like the most normal, standard, prototypical uh, version of a Christian is, and that's a pretty easy category to fit into. Um, you don't need to like be a good Christian to be a Christian. You just need to. It's just defined by you follow and revere those teachings, and that
Right.
version
Well,
of a God, or
well,
or 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 at least you try
in
to.
worldly terms,
Yeah.
right, right. In worldly terms, I 100% meet those criteria, and in the eyes of humans, I'm a Christian. But again,
Mhm.
that's not what matters to me in the least bit. I don't give a shit what any other humans think about me. I only care about what God thinks about me, right? And when it comes to
Mm.
Christianity,
Yeah.
that's what concerns me.
Mhm.
I want to make sure that God knows me. I don't want to end up on his doorstep and he turns me away and says he never knew me. That would be devastating.
Well,
Of
Matt, I can
course.
Um,
Yeah.
promise you,
But
bud, if you ever start having those feelings, I just want you to know that, in my opinion, that actually is more of a qualifier of you being a Christian, is that you're wondering if you're following the criteria enough to your own standard and to God's standard of what a Christian is, because In my opinion, if you're a Christian, then you start off with the basis of knowing you fall short of what God wants.
Absolutely.
Well,
So-
actually,
Absolutely.
that's one of the other problems I have with Christianity is like when you can try your best, but it's still not good enough. Yeah, I just don't feel like that makes sense. Like, oh, I was evil by mistake. I'm sorry, and now I'm not worthy of your love. That is supposed to be endless and without condition. Yeah,
well, you see, it is though. It is.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is.
yeah. I'm sure that's how you see it, but
Yes.
I
yes.
don't. It doesn't make sense to me. Is what I'm saying. But whatever you
Well,
believe
it's
is
like
fine.
this though. If we had a perfect and like the most perfect human that had absolutely no evil in their heart, would only do what was right 100% of the time, and didn't even screw up by mistake, was completely perfect, then that person would either be put to death very rapidly or would be put in control of everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That
Well,
actually, then there's no purpose for Christ if we don't fall short. That's the whole
Right.
idea behind
Well, actually,
Christianity.
and that's the other point too,
to
right?
be
Is
honest,
there were
I
other
am
conditions
trying.
beforehand.
I mean, to be honest, I'm trying to be that person. I'm trying to always do
Trying to be
some.
perfect.
Yeah, kind of. I'm trying to never do anything that I believe to be wrong. At least
Right.
from this point in my life. Like I feel like I have found myself now, and I know who I am, and I know what my principles are, and I'm trying to never go against those principles because that will make me regret things
And that's very admirable.
and it will make me
Right.
less happy, and I don't want to be less happy. I want to be more happy, so I'm trying to always act in accordance with my principles. So. And I mean, yeah,
Right. And this is all based off of wanting to be happy.
it's based off of wanting to be happy. Yes.
We're about to
I
go
mean,
down a path. I already know where this is going.
Someone could claim that that's acting selfishly.
And I would agree. I believe that absolutely everyone is acting in self-interest. The difference is that some people's self-interest happens to be in harmony with their environment or the rest of society, and other people's interests
Right.
happens to be in conflict with other people's interests, and that's when you have evil people, self-interest that goes extremely in conflict with other people's self-interest. Like if a psychopath wants to kill someone, for example, that's extremely against the other person's self-interest, and so that's evil.
Right.
Anne
And so you
Rand
have
would
to find
love
that
this
balance.
conversation.
Who?
Anne Rand. She would love this conversation. Oh, okay.
Well, yeah,
so
maybe, but like
that-
I many years ago, I watched a clip of Ayn Rand talking, and I just found it not, good or wise at all. So, but yeah, I mean, sure, she probably said some things that were good, I guess.
So it sounds to me like what you're talking about with trying to find that balance where your happiness and yourself
Interest.
I don't know, self-interest, right, aren't overriding other people's, is the struggle of freedom, right? It's the struggle of allowing yourself the correct balance of freedom where your freedom isn't imposing on anyone else's freedoms. And that's incredibly important. You need that. Everyone needs to have as much freedom as possible. But having too much freedom, it will override other people's freedoms.
Yeah. I mean, of course, it's a give and take. Yeah.
Yeah. Right, and that's why there needs to be a certain level of balance.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean
Which is
that's where like you know, where I try to, like, every time if I want something, then, you know, it's like, does the other person want it as well? And that's awesome if they do, or if they don't, you know, that needs to be respected. And I want to respect that because that creates more happiness for everyone, you know, and that's what I want, you know, and that feels better because, like, I didn't make them sad, and, you know, maybe I even made them happy by, you know, being kind. Uh, so, and that's in my self-interest because I feel good about myself when first of all, I'm not making other people sad, and second of all, maybe even making them feel better and maybe even happy, you know.
so
Mhm.
that makes me that leads me to this question.
Yeah.
What is your deepest value? What is the one thing you would hold above all other things? What is the ultimate goal in life?
Happiness.
Happiness. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, happiness above everything else.
Absolutely. Above everything else.
Okay. I would say for me it's righteousness. But I'm curious because I feel like it could be that righteousness brings about happiness.
Mhm. Yeah, sure, to a certain degree. I mean, I could certainly see some situations where it might, you know, decrease happiness, but yeah, yeah, sure. Like most of the time, it increases happiness. Yeah, sure. Um, I mean, depending on how you define it, but the
Right.
Christian,
Of course, and that's
yeah,
the big question.
yeah. And I mean, Christianity has a lot to say about the definition of righteousness, and I, you know, to a certain extent, yeah, I might agree, but also definitely to a certain other extent, I disagree. You
Sure.
know, and
But that brings about the question. That brings about the question.
yeah.
Who are any of us humans to decide what is and what is not righteous?
Well, I mean, we are humans, and, you know, so we have certain wants and needs, and you know, we can. Um, it makes sense for me to, you know, try to maximize the happiness by, you know, fulfilling those needs in the best way possible. You know.
I
Right.
think what Matt is kind of, because y'all are having stated what the argument actually is. And so I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there so y'all can actually have the argument about it. But
Yeah, sure.
essentially, I think what you're arguing is that you don't need a god in order to have morals and ethics. And
Yeah.
Matt's arguing that you do.
Yeah, sure.
And
I'm very familiar with that point of
okay.
view. Yeah. Sure.
So essentially, if the goal, what he's saying is if the goal of life is happiness,
Uh-huh.
and let's say that a serial killer gets happiness from killing people,
Mhm.
well, that wouldn't be a very good goal. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's not a
No,
good
We
thing.
can all agree with
Yeah,
that.
of course not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so where does morals and like ethics essentially, where does it come from basically? And I think that the Christian argument, obviously you already know what it is, so I'm not going to state it.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure.
but your argument, I'm assuming, is going to be a little bit along the lines of, well, it kind of depends on what time frame that you live in, essentially.
Well, no, not dependent on time or culture, actually. I will argue that some cultures simply have it wrong. And it's not wrong because it's not, you know, following the right religion or the what happens to be the popular ideology. I believe some cultures are wrong because they simply uh, are not operating in a way that will maximize people's happiness.
Right, but I mean, like you said, like happiness is kind of, to me, in my opinion, happiness is a fleeting thing. Like, happiness is something
what
that
do you mean?
comes
What do
and
you mean?
goes. You know?
Like, because fleeting can mean different things. It can mean that it's difficult to attain and keep, or it can mean that it's hard to define. What do you mean?
So it's hard to. Okay, what was the last one you said? Because I might say
Hard
both,
to
depending on what you
Or
said.
it's hard to define. That was the last one.
Well, kind of a little bit of both, but mostly the first one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, it's a fleeting thing that comes and goes, and I don't think that anybody's goal in life should be essentially happiness, in my opinion. And you might actually agree with me on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that your life should actually be more about meaning than it is happiness.
Well, that is meaning.
Because if your
to
life,
me. You know, that
well,
gives
yeah,
me a lot of meaning.
but happiness and meaning is like two very different things. You know, like how you define what your happiness is going to be completely different than how somebody else defines their happiness.
Well,
You know, it's like happiness comes.
the point isn't what makes us happy. The point is to achieve that happiness, whatever it may be for different people. That is the point, you know.
Right. Well, to me, just for me personally, I think it's more about like finding meaning in your life. Like you have to have a reason to do like what you're doing. Like when I think of happiness, I think of like a vacation on a beach. You know what I mean? But like if I have meaning in my life, if I have a goal, if I have something that I'm setting out to do, or a certain way that I'm trying to live, or a certain, you know, my family, like sure, your family can make you happy, but they can also make you want to pull your fucking hair out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so like, what matters to you is what your life is. That's, and you know, I think that
yeah, unless your life is very, you know, bad or meaningless.
Right, but who puts, most of the time you have to put yourself in that situation or hold yourself in that situation, and your actions are what control. And it all goes back to meaning. What you know, like what are you doing?
Well, I mean,
You know what I mean?
like honestly, I think that Christians, without really meaning to, just implicitly agree that happiness is the fundamental, most important value and meaning of life, because I'm just looking at the teachings, what God is saying, and what Christians are saying about God, and it for me it kind of logically points to the fact that actually happiness is what it's all about, and this is why, and it's because, okay, so God wants us to follow these rules because it's the best for us. And why is it the best for us? Because it's what will make us the most happy, right? And so, like, a lot of Christians say that, well, I mean, the most important thing, or the meaning of life, or the best thing about life is love, right? And especially selfless love. And God has a lot of that, and we should try to strive for that. And when we have that and give that, then we will be happy. Well, there you go again. So you're trying to exercise love in order to achieve, what is it? Happiness. Exactly. Right? That seems to be the ultimate goal, also in Christianity. So.
Hold on, my lady's talking to me.
Trying to think about if I see any flaws in that, and I might not actually, because
Yeah.
ultimately, what does a Christian want? They want to go to heaven and be with their Creator, right?
Which will make them very happy, right?
Right.
Yeah. There you go.
Or it should, hopefully.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean,
I'll level with you.
I don't see why I wouldn't. I mean,
I'll level with you, right?
yeah, yeah.
There's a part of me that is terrified of God. I don't know that I'm ready to meet him, right? Because
Okay,
he's the
yeah.
one that can judge me.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, honestly, if I even believed God existed, then it would not make sense for me to be scared, and here's why. Several reasons, okay? So the first and maybe one of the most obvious reasons is that God is almighty. He can do whatever he wants whenever. So, like if I am to be scared of any consequences, that could have or would have or might happen at whatever point, and there's absolutely nothing I can do to stop that against someone who's almighty. If he wants to do something with me, then he will. That's simply a matter of fact or logic. So like there's not really a reason to worry about it because I can never change that. The another reason is that according to Christianity and the Bible, God loves me endlessly and he is a perfectly good being, right? He's 100% good. He is goodness, right? Personified. And so if that's true, then he will never do evil to me, right? And if he never does evil to me,
Mhm.
then
But you have
there's
to
nothing to
balance
fear.
the fact that humanity's understanding on what is good and what is evil is not always in alignment with what God views as good and evil. And so you need to understand that because
God is both
every
good and
human
evil?
will.
What was that you
Not
said?
at all. That is
No.
not at all what I'm saying.
No.
I'm saying that we don't always have the right perception of what is good and evil.
Oh yeah, sure.
Every
Yeah,
man
yeah.
will profess his righteousness before God, but
Mhm. Yeah.
ultimately God is the judge, and He knows what is good and what is evil, even when we don't.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, sure. And to that I will say this. Okay, so fair enough. If I do something that is actually evil, but I didn't know it, yeah, maybe he'll judge me. But as a lot of Christians say, which I think is a fair point, is that if you don't know that it's evil, then he's not going to judge you as if you are evil
Oh
because
no.
you didn't know that what you did
Oh no, that is
was
not a
wrong.
Christian belief at all. That is
Well,
not a
that
Christian
that
belief at
depends
all.
what
The Christian
Christian.
belief, the
Well,
Christian belief is that God can and will forgive you of any sins, any evil you've committed, if you accept God into your heart and ask for that forgiveness. That's the Christian belief. It's not that it's if you committed the sin without knowing it was a sin, that's okay. So
that's not
here's
what I'm
the thing,
saying.
right?
But
Here,
he will take it into account that you didn't know it was wrong. Your intention matters a lot. To some Christians, at least. I mean, maybe not to you or
okay.
some
It's
others,
kind of
but
hard to have this argument to begin with because,
uh-huh.
in my opinion, we live in the Western world, which is essentially the reason why I would say it's a Christian nation, is that the morals come from it. Like, literally, where we live, whether you're a Christian or not, the philosophical and moral standpoints kind of develop from, in my opinion, and you might disagree with me on this one, but it
Yeah,
actually
I do.
develops from that, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I can understand. It's a very common position for Christians to hold. Yeah, I do disagree though.
But I mean, do you not hold the position though?
No, I disagree. I absolutely recognize that Christianity has influenced the West to a great degree, to a great extent. But I do not agree that it is like the ultimate foundation of the Western values. Um,
Well,
uh,
I think that it is, and I mean, if you look at, have you ever read Friedrich Nietzsche? Have you
no,
ever read
no,
any of his shit before?
no. I'm
Um,
familiar with some of his work, but I haven't read any. No.
so Friedrich Nietzsche, he's the one that actually he is not a Christian. In fact, he was He was a big time atheist, but he recognized that the Western world was so Christian that whenever the age of science was coming about, one of the things that I think he said in his books was like that, essentially we've killed God, and what we're left with is going to be essentially pretty damn confusing, because we have an ideology that's based on Christian beliefs, like a moral set that's based on Christian beliefs, but we have a coming world that is going to be opposing to these views. So it's like a constant conflict within the West, and I see that all the time, Our political shit is so ridiculous at times because, the United States is really good about this. Thank God, in my opinion, that we do have a separation of church and state. I'm glad that we do.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's not entirely true, though. I mean, it's not really 100% separation. There's a lot of connection between church and state as well, which is actually not present in, for example, Norway, where I live. A lot of
you're from Norway. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of governmental money in the U.S. actually for example, that are supposed to go to schools, go to Christian organizations, for example.
Well, I would tend to believe that would be because of their charitable stuff, right?
No, that's not the case.
Well,
yeah,
I can't think of a church that isn't charitable.
Well, at least on the outside. But I mean, there's a lot of there are a lot of pretty rich, powerful Christian organizations. And some are tied in with the government.
I even talked to you earlier about how there's corrupt churches.
I
would say, however, when it comes to how tied in Christianity is with the government, right? The church and state together, right? It's nowhere near the level how the Catholic system used to essentially rule all of Europe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
It's not like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was way worse.
Yeah, and I mean,
for sure.
Really, even whenever, if you look at the Eastern world too, I mean, China's just out here saying that, religion retards the brains, and they actually commit like atrocities on Christians over there.
Yeah. Of course, that's undoubtedly, black and white just bad to do that.
That's some of the things that I point at, whenever you talk about like that it's hard, in my opinion, to have the argument on morals and shit, is because, like I said, in my opinion, we do live under that like Christian moral mindset essentially, and if you look at other countries in the East, it's not that way. It's really not.
No, but the thing is, like, there are still other very important influences on the Western values. I mean, for example, the what is it, the time of enlightenment, which had a lot of focus on rational thinking, and which was probably the most important movement to push towards abolishment of slavery, for example.
So one important thing that I really don't want to get away from, is a while back we were talking about how the human's perception of what is good and evil is not necessarily with what God sees as good and evil, right? And if you would indulge me, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Sure, go ahead.
Keep in mind that I am not trying to judge you at all, and in fact, I hold no judgment to you. And
I'm not scared of judgment. Just go ahead.
Regardless of how you answer these questions, I want you to know that if I was being honest, I didn't answer these questions the way I wanted to. So I'm just gonna I'm just gonna put that out there. Okay.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
So have you ever used God's name in vain?
Yeah.
Before you finish that, Matt, can you define first what you consider to be using God's name in vain?
Me? Or
Yeah, I want you to
Nice.
define specifically what you believe God's name in vain.
Yeah, so the way I understand that, I mean, personally, that's not, a relevant concept to my worldview. But what I understand Christians mean by that is when you say God, or you say Jesus Christ, and when you don't actually mean to invoke them. You're not actually talking to them. You're just saying their name as a
Hmm.
frivolous form of expletive. Yeah. For example.
Well, that's how I view it as well. What about you, Real Tide? Curious.
So my view on taking God's name in vain, I don't think that you should use it that way, the way you're talking about it. I don't think it's a good thing. But
Yeah.
I believe I had did some research into that commandment,
Uh-huh.
and it was more along the lines of think of what ISIS does. Okay,
Uh-huh.
they believe that they are fulfilling God's will whenever
Yeah.
they're committing atrocities, and it's the same things that, let's say, like the Catholics were doing back in the Crusades.
Mm-hmm.
They believed that
Okay.
they were fulfilling God's will. In my opinion, that is the definition of taking God's name in vain, is you're using God to forward your own human wants and needs.
Your own agenda.
Oh,
Well,
yeah, okay.
I'll be honest,
So
that makes a lot of
okay.
sense.
That kind of makes sense too. Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
that's actually a completely different way to see it. But yeah, sure, that makes sense too.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. So another one is, have you ever disrespected your father or your mother?
Sure.
Okay. Have you ever committed murder?
No.
Have you
Well, I
ever
mean,
looked at a
like
woman?
on humans, no.
Shit.
I was asking about humans.
Yeah. Okay, then
Um,
no.
Have you ever looked at a woman or a man and felt lust in your heart even with that person?
Sorry, you cut out a little bit. I wanted to hear the full sentence before I respond. So could you please
Have
repeat?
you ever looked at a man or a woman with lust in your heart without being with that person?
Yeah.
Like you're not in a relationship with them. Okay. Have you ever stolen anything, whether it was small or not?
Yes.
Have you ever been jealous over something that someone else has that you don't?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay. So we haven't looked at all of the 10 commandments, but we've looked at several of them.
Mm-hmm.
And by your own admission, you are saying that you're a sinner with those things, that in the eyes of God, you are not righteous, because those are the commandments by which God deems whether or not we are righteous.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be upfront with you that
Yeah.
I'm not righteous in God's eyes either by these commandments, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the concept here is that we are held to laws and morals that are above us. They're greater than us
Yeah.
by the ultimate supreme being. And because we cannot uphold these perfect laws and perfect rules because they are above us,
Mm-hmm.
he had to come here and uphold those rules for us. He
Yeah.
did that in the form of Jesus. He gave us his only son. He was the sacrifice by which we can attain salvation, right? His blood washes away our sins.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
it's a choice we have to make.
Yep.
We have to accept that offer.
Right.
So essentially what I'm trying to get at is Christianity is all about acknowledging that we are imperfect and
Yep.
that our perfect loving Father has opened, even though we're imperfect.
Wait. Yeah, you said our perfect loving Father has, and then you said
Our perfect loving Father has opened a door to us, even though we are imperfect.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So, essentially, that's what I wanted to say about,
Yeah.
you know, in terms of whether or not we are good and righteous.
Yep.
You know, honestly, the reality is we're not. You know, not by God's standards. Humans will always profess their own righteousness before others and before God, but we are not.
Yeah. Okay. I have like a different perspective on this. So, you know, for me, like a perfect world, for example, that expression has a different meaning to me than for most people, I think. Because to me, a perfect world is not a world where no one is ever mean to anyone and no one does anything bad ever and there is no discomfort at all. That is not what I think about or mean when I'm thinking about or talking about a perfect world.
Well, that makes me wonder.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a couple questions about that, though. If you did live in a where no one was ever mean and where people never did anything bad to each other, do you think you would be happy in that world?
No, I don't think so.
Why is that?
Because, and this is why I don't see a world without those things as perfect, because we need challenges and hardship and discomfort in order to grow emotionally. So it's actually good for us to have at least mild discomfort and maybe even some stronger forms of discomfort. Although the most extreme suffering is obviously simply just bad, so we should be without that. So a perfect
I couldn't
world
agree
will
with you
not
anymore.
ever so a perfect world will not ever include the extreme evils, but it will include, you know, the mild transgressions for sure. A lot of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't agree with you anymore. I don't want where essentially the only thing for me to do is to wake up and eat food and watch TV, you know, and there's nothing out there that I have to do. There's no tasks, there's no challenges, none of that, right? That sounds like hell to me. Okay.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
So I just want to point out that I don't think you have the viewpoint on what a perfect world is by the Christian standard, because that nothing bad ever happens and nobody treats each other badly. Viewpoint where there's no challenges at all and there's no work to be done. That is not what God's perfect world is either.
Okay, that's interesting that you say that. I don't think that's what that Christians I've talked to before share that view. But you know, it's interesting that you have this view. Like where did you have this view before I said these things?
Absolutely, because I mean, it's important to understand that we will have work to do in heaven. You know.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting.
Will always
like
be a challenge to perform.
Where did you get inspired to think in those terms?
I mean, I was just raised that way, to be honest. I can't identify a specific scripture that talks about it because I don't know them all, but that is how I was raised.
Okay, because I thought very specifically and consciously about this. I'm not exactly sure about the date, but it was pretty recent, like maybe a few, maybe like a couple of years ago. And then I thought again about it pretty recently as well, like a week ago. And this is definitely what I feel would be a perfect world. But the thing is, like, there are some caveats, right? Because I don't believe in anything supernatural, which excludes God. And so there can't be a paradise. Well, I mean, I don't think there's gonna be a paradise. I mean, theoretically, there could be a paradise without God, but I just think I just don't believe in any of that. I just believe that this is the life we're given, and that's it, and it's all not without intention and stuff. So we're just material, wandering around the universe, and so with that in mind, uh, we are like this, like we are now in the earthly life. And with that in mind, we have the limitation that we need challenges to grow. But
Can I ask you a huge question about that, though?
yeah, I'm just gonna finish this really quick. But potentially, if, like, hypothetically, if you had heaven, which will be a perfect world, then you could, imagine that we are a higher form of being where we didn't need challenges to grow or be extremely happy, But in this earthly world, we definitely do for sure, and so that's why my view of a perfect world must, well, I mean, at least, like, in a realistic sense, must include challenges and discomfort.
I'm with you. If we don't have challenges, then what are humans going to do? If we lived in a system that presented us with no challenges, humans to break that system so that we have challenges.
I
Because
mean,
we'll be too
there are
fucking bored.
some different things I've heard Christians say about paradise. Probably the most important point they stress is that
I have a huge question though.
yeah. I'm just gonna say this: is that we cannot know what paradise is like because the Bible says that you will not be able to even imagine how good it's gonna be.
Correct.
And the other thing is that I seem to remember some Christians telling me that paradise, what they think paradise might be like is, some form of peaceful spiritual existence with God where they feel God's love. And it's not necessarily that things happen or that you walk around in an earthly sense. It's more that you are with God spiritually there, your soul.
Well, no, it talks about there being a physical space where you can walk around though. So.
Oh, okay.
That
Well,
view.
I guess I might be wrong about that then. Well, I mean, like, depending on, because some Christians still might have that view. I don't know. Yeah.
So I just have a huge question about your worldview, which is
sure, fire ahead.
You're talking about you don't believe in the supernatural, right? That
yes.
This is all just material.
Yeah, I believe that everything
is,
that exists is physical. Yeah.
My question is, how does anything exist at all without supernatural? I think our mere existence alone proves that something unexplainable happened, and that usually you define the unexplainable as supernatural.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. The argument of the Kalam cosmological argument, yeah, and like it's called I've heard because I've watched some YouTube videos about it, and it's also that, like, called the first mover, the first cause, the prime mover, stuff like that. And yeah, sure, like, if you believe that material, normal regular material that isn't supernatural couldn't exist forever, yeah, sure, but what if it could, right? And what if the universe has existed forever, simply just like God?
Well, yeah, but everything has an origin.
Well, does the universe?
It would have to.
Well, how do you know that, though?
Well, what sort of laws constitute things existing without there being something that either created it or, like, how does existence come into existence?
Well,
Well, that's the big question.
I mean, it's not
and
that.
that's a joke. Can I interject just for 1 second?
Yeah, sure.
There's only one miracle, and this is a Christian joke, so I'm not meaning it seriously, but
Yeah.
Christians
Okay.
will say there's only one miracle that atheists will make you want to believe, and that's it. Period. And you already know what that is.
That the universe just came into existence from nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, though, I don't think there are many atheists that do believe that, or the people that do believe that probably haven't really thought much about it and don't really know what they think, or it's not important to them. But for me, I have thought about it, and yeah, I just don't see why material could not have existed forever, or could have changed from into the universe from something else, but something else that definitely existed and wasn't supernatural.
So I'm gonna try to speak from your perspective for a second.
Okay.
So I actually have thought about things from your perspective, and I actually have a lot of questions about the origin and everything.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Trying to not put God into account. And to me, it's extremely complicated. And the actual science is even changing on the Big Bang. If you haven't, researched a little bit about, what JWST, I think is, James Webb Space Telescope, it's actually pushed back the Big Bang much further than
Oh, really?
what
Much
we
further?
had believed. Yes,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
they're
So
they're
like
seeing they're actually finding stars that are so far away that well, not stars, galaxies. There's certain galaxies that have formed that they can see that, and when a telescope is looking back, it's actually essentially like a time machine. It's looking back in time.
Sure. Yeah,
because in order for the light to
exactly,
actually travel to us,
Mhm.
it has to actually have that time to travel to us, and
Of
we're
course, yeah.
seeing. Now, of course, there's a little bit of the delineation when it comes to that, because there's light magnetism essentially. So it could be the fact that the telescope is
Well, I mean,
it's looking
I
through
have.
gravity centers that are magnifying.
Yeah, but the scientists
scope.
can take that into account and then calculate pretty reliably.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's the reason why they're freaking out right now about the Big Bang itself. Is they're actually beginning to question the Big Bang because of the amount of galaxies they're discovering that shouldn't exist.
Well, I mean,
There was another.
I mean, I've often heard Christians say like this shouldn't be the case if God didn't exist, etc., etc. But from my experience, all of those problems have answers. When I've looked
And
it
you're
up.
saying we don't know what they are yet, based on the science.
No,
because
that's
we're
not what I'm
there
saying.
Yet.
I'm saying like most of those problems we do have answers to. Actually, pretty good answers.
Right.
For example, there's a lot of like I don't know if you're creationists, but a lot of Christians are, and like there's constantly a lot of arguments being produced to support creationism, and most of those arguments are problems supposedly with evolutions, but usually those problems have pretty straightforward good answers that are already known in the well known in the scientific community.
Right. I also have a little bit looked into, and I'm starting to wonder if it could be the truth, is
Mm-hmm.
things are very, very out of our scope, even when it comes from a biblical perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've looked deeply into like simulation theory,
No.
and that looks
Okay. Yeah.
very, very intriguing to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But I
Yeah.
mean, even if you look at it from that perspective, it doesn't discredit a god. In fact, it sort of, in my
You cut
opinion, points
out a bit
towards
from
one.
you cut out a bit from me, but you were saying that even if you consider the possibility of simulate that we're in a simulation, is that what you said? And then you
Yeah,
said
even
God
if the possibility,
that
yeah.
still doesn't discredit the possibility of a God.
Yeah, it doesn't discredit a possibility of a god, and in fact, if there is a simulation, it could reinforce it. But we don't know
Well,
that.
I
No.
mean, I'm not sure about that. I mean, if God exists, then I mean the kind of God that is described in the Bible and believed in by Christians, I would expect him to be uncomfortable with his subjects being in a simulation where they didn't have real information to act on. That would seem very immoral to me, and also to such a being, and he would probably put a stop to it, in my opinion.
Well, if you think of it from a Christian perspective, why do you think that God would create people to begin with?
Well, I have heard various similar explanations where it's usually that he wanted company. He's a social being, and he wanted someone to give love to. So
I mean,
yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
Revan, what is your take on this line of thinking?
I missed what he just said. Actually, I had to unplug my controller so I could walk away from where I
Aw,
was sitting.
what a
It
shame.
disconnected. So what'd you say?
So we were going off on we kind of went down a different way. We went into, you know, uh, Big Bang slash, then we
Oh, I heard
traveled
most of
off
it. It was
into,
just this last like 30
Mhm.
seconds that
Yeah.
you.
oh,
Yeah.
just
Right.
like just the simulation theory and
No, 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 no.
everything
Right.
Okay,
like
Okay.
that.
so I was just saying that from what I understand the Christian God to be and Christians' understanding of him, he would not allow simulation because for us to be in a simulation because that would be immoral and because we would be uh, deceived, right? We would be in a fake environment that would give us real choices to make. It would be deceptive
Well,
and
but I
fake.
mean, why
It,
would
it,
why
it
would
would it
you
would be
believe that
deceptive and
that would
fake,
be?
right? And I don't think he would allow that.
Mm, I
I'm
don't know.
not too sure.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
not
I
either.
mean, I actually
yeah,
not,
okay.
I'm literally not too sure. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just literally saying I'm really not too sure.
Yeah,
You
well,
know what I mean? Like,
that's just
it's an
what I think.
interesting thought. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. I
That
mean,
is
that's just what I
one
think,
thing.
though. But, yeah.
One thing I'd have to point out is, does it change any of his commandments though, that we're supposed to hold in order to be righteous human beings? If it doesn't have an impact on essentially our ability to do good and evil, then I don't know why it would matter.
Uh, well, I mean, it's a matter of perspective or definition, right? Because it's like if I'm uh, doing like an action could be good or bad in the simulation, is it really good or bad, or is it
So that's a great
just
question. I
yeah,
asked
yeah.
myself that very same thing when I was playing a World War II game when I was 8 years old. I
Mhm.
was like, huh, getting
Yeah.
these people in a video game immoral, you know?
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
I came to the conclusion that it's not because they're not people.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Sure. Hello.
So
If
I
you're
would.
speaking right now, I can. Yeah, you're cutting in and out.
No, I was trying to think. I was
Oh,
trying to
okay.
think.
Yeah, yeah.
So I suppose that would mean if this was simulation, right?
Mhm.
And you committed a murder, right,
Mhm.
on another person, does that kill the other person? Does it kill that? I mean,
Yeah, I don't
is it
know.
like the
That
Matrix, right?
completely depends on the creators of the simulation, and the rules of the
Sure,
simulation.
sure. So I would say that when Jesus was talking to the Pharisees, that he literally stated that the Pharisees had committed a lot of sins in their heart without actually committing the actions. So
Okay, yeah.
if we're going off of that, then
Uh-huh.
you can sin through your thoughts.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know. Again, I think
Yeah.
I think that the idea comes back to imperfect humans will not uphold the laws of God.
Yeah.
He's too perfect, right? And we're not, because we're not God, and only God can be perfect. So it doesn't matter whether we're in a simulation or not. It doesn't really change our ability to do good and evil. So if it doesn't change that, it doesn't have an impact on our ability, to be saved. Then why would he shut it down just for the sake of it being in a simulation?
Because
And
it
who's
would
to say that the simulation
because
isn't his?
let's say it isn't his, or
No, I'm saying, and who's to say that the simulation isn't God's as well? I mean,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
pretty
yeah, yeah. Well, I
agnostic,
mean,
but
that was my initial assumption the whole time. I mean, because like if the simulation is God's, then what's really the difference between him putting us in a simulation and him simply creating us in a world? And you know,
I don't
like
see a difference personally.
no,
It is the
maybe
same to
it
me.
isn't, right? Like he created it, and it has rules and functions, and stuff happens,
Mhm.
in both of them. So yeah, yeah, I don't know.
Either way, if there's life beyond this, then this is not the only experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, something you might find interesting too is there's a line of thought that I don't necessarily agree with, but I've heard this line of thought that, again, this is not my take, but
Yeah,
there's a
sure.
line of thought that some Christians believe that God is so wonderful and perfect, and His love is so deep, and He's so graceful that there isn't really a hell, and that everyone will actually make it to heaven.
Okay.
But that doesn't really align with my beliefs.
No, sure.
Because
Yeah.
then why even talk about it? I don't know.
Yeah,
But I thought you
or
might find
well,
that
maybe
interesting if you
you
haven't
wouldn't
already heard
talk
about it.
about it then, and just be happy in heaven together.
Right. So one thing I have to point out
Yeah.
is I still don't really understand the purpose for humanity on Earth. I don't know why God put us here or what He wants from us here, but I do understand that along the way He wants us to choose Him, and He wants us to do so with what is available to us. We have our own tools at our disposal, and He wants us to use those to make our own decision.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I'm not sure what the end goal is here, and maybe that's because I'm a human and I'm not God.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I feel like the explanation I've heard from people, other Christians, makes sense to me. If I ever was a Christian, I would probably think the same way, and that is that God created us because He wanted company and He wanted someone to share His love with. Simple as that. I mean, a lot of Christians say that love is the most, like, the highest feeling or state of being. When you just love selflessly. Um, so, and even that is the meaning of life.
So Just putting this out there. Loving selflessly is great. I heard you say earlier something about unconditional love, which is something that
Yeah.
I feel it's just one of those things that sounds nicer than it really is because
I agree actually. But I do think
no, I
it's
think
worded
love
like
is
that
conditional.
in some verses in the Bible though, that his love is unconditional.
Well, I mean, I suppose there's a difference though. You can love someone but still not necessarily give in to their every want and desire, and that may even be loving.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't feel like completely, truly unconditional love ever makes sense. Because what if someone completely turned
Sure.
psycho and went and just evil and killed everybody or tortured people?
Which
Right?
is why, in
Would you
my
still just
opinion,
love them, unconditionally? I don't think anyone
no.
would. You know.
Right.
And
no human
I don't
would.
think anyone should love such a person unconditionally. I don't think so.
No, I'm with you. There's
So-
certain people that I would advise people not to love.
Yeah, so
But again, I'm a human.
I feel like people should stop throwing that expression around because they do every time
I agree.
there's a wedding or I
Yeah,
love you
I've seen,
unconditionally.
yeah.
Yeah, like no,
it's
you
actually
don't.
a pet peeve of mine when I see that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
I think I disagree.
do you?
You do?
I
What's your
disagree,
take?
but I'm not. My take is that we should love everyone unconditionally, but there's obviously
Oh, I might
there's certain
understand what you're
principles that
saying.
you have to. Yeah, so it's kind of complicated to
No,
formulate. My bad. I'm not
I
really good
think I
about this.
understand what you might be saying. Let me try to give it in my words. Okay, so people are different, right? And so uh, treating them correctly or slash loving them means different things for different people. And so, for example, if someone are just being awesome, then being awesome back to them is loving them. And then other people maybe are doing something wrong, and so correcting them and maybe giving them some appropriate consequences is also loving them. And so like you could like from that perspective you could even argue that putting horrible mass murderers in jail is actually loving them because it's an appropriate and correct response to their actions, and they benefit from being punished actually.
So there's you're pretty much on the right path of where I'm going. But this is something that I changed on because, as you can tell from the conversations we've probably had earlier, I'm a little bit on the right. And if you know that people on the right are typically for the death penalty, but as a Christian, in my own Christian moral philosophy, I'm against the death penalty.
Yeah, I like that. I respect that. I am also against the death penalty, but it's actually not a matter of moral principle. It's more a moral matter of I just don't think that the government, should
Am I an asshole
has any business. What's that?
I said, am I an asshole then? Because I've told you before, I have no qualms about killing.
So
yeah, maybe. No. It's
do.
fine. But what I wanted to say, I wanted to finish this though. Is just that I'm saying like the government has no business killing anyone, because it's just not supposed to be to have that kind of role, in my opinion. That's not up to the government. Because
does the military have any business killing?
But that business is only in emergency, right? In war, which is like the most horrible state that a society can possibly be in.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
I'm not advocating that war is good. I will say it's necessary sometimes.
It's a similar to the principle of self-defense. Like if someone attacks you and is about to, give you a solid beating or maybe even murdering you, will you defend yourself? And if so, then that's probably going
Oh, that's a
to.
great question.
Yeah,
Would
and
you?
and so
Would you
like.
take a human's life if you thought your
Mhm.
life was on the line?
Yeah, so like, and that's going to, be violence as well, but a different kind maybe, but still violence, right? And so,
Absolutely.
would
But I was
you,
curious. I
yeah,
just wanted to know. I'm very, very, very curious actually about
uh-huh,
your take on that.
mm-hmm,
If your life was in danger and you
yeah,
really, truly, 100% believed that someone was going to kill you,
yeah,
would you be willing to kill them before they did?
yes, absolutely, no problem with that.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
I was wondering.
So-
I have a lot of respect for that line of thought. I
mhm.
share that line of thought.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think everyone.
In my opinion, if you think it's okay to do that to me, then I have no problem doing that back to you.
Right.
Yeah, that's
So
that's
Oh,
that's.
it's actually.
my
I've talked to a lot of Europeans and
Mhm.
other people outside of the United States that would
Yeah.
tell me that they wouldn't, that they would just go ahead and.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
Uh,
that is a tendency that I have noticed, that I feel like Europe in general seems to have like a slightly more peaceful kind of mindset. Like less, more focus on pacifism and less
yeah.
violence. And I really
Right.
I
But
really like that in general, but in some instances, like extremely evil people, I just
right.
that's not that's where I draw the line. And
So my take
but
on it is that
however, I still don't think the government should kill, at all, because like sure, put them in jail, maybe forever even. But the thing is, as long as they are in jail, at least they're
I'm
alive.
not gonna lie to you. Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, yeah,
I'm
but
not gonna lie to you. I want
I'm
you.
just gonna finish this train of thought really quick, and that is like, if the government kills someone, that is like an absolute consequence that can never ever be taken
Right.
back, and sometimes it
Mhm.
has been proven after the execution that actually they were innocent, and I just feel like that's
Yeah. Oh
so
yeah. All too
horrible.
often.
That's so horrible to me that the government killed someone officially and legally, and they were
And then there's no
completely,
consequences for
and
those people.
exactly, and they were completely wrong, and that's like the
Right.
most absolute consequence that you can possibly give another living being, and so yeah, and that's why I don't think that there should be the death penalty. But I'm not,
Yeah.
my moral principles do not exclude killing someone, like in general, or in self-defense, or even to protect other people, or simply make the world a better place without those extremely evil people.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, what I was gonna say is, I would hope that the government would put a bullet in my brain before they put me in solitary confinement for over 50 years, man.
Oh
Or
yeah,
even
I mean
5.
that's actually torture. It's
Right.
actually defined as torture by some form of very official instance. I don't remember which
So
instance
I
it is.
suppose then you're not talking about any form of containment or imprisonment. You're talking about humane imprisonment.
I'm not
Because that does
sure.
make
I'm
a
not
difference.
sure. I just don't want them, like, I'm right now. I'm just sure that I don't feel like the government has the right to murder them. Probably also not what you're, presenting, like solitary confinement for 50
Yeah.
years. Yeah, probably not.
Right. Right. No, I have
Yeah.
a problem with that too. Like, they've done solitary confinement for people for
Mhm.
ridiculous amounts of time. Like,
Yeah.
I know of one where a guy was sentenced to 10 years of solitary confinement when he wasn't even guilty for the original charges that landed him in prison. But he did have to finish serving the remaining 8 after it was proven that the original crime was he was innocent for that crime. He had, however,
That
had to kill.
fucking,
Listen,
yeah.
he had to kill another inmate in self-defense while he was in prison. So
Okay.
that landed him that additional sentence of finishing the 10 years of solitary confinement.
Yeah, that's still is what's the word in English? It's
Messed up.
yeah, it's offensive. It
Yeah,
provokes
inhumane.
it provokes
It's
me
inhumane.
strongly.
And
You
the
know.
other fascinating thing about this is it's not like they didn't acknowledge that they messed up, because they actually gave him, I think it was $5 million when he got out in
Was
reparations
that
for the original.
was that the guy that he, like, because he was constantly in a small cell and he never looked at anything far away, then he lost that ability to ever look at anything far away in a clear view.
I don't
You
know
know,
about that.
okay,
I don't know
because
about
I heard
that.
about, I saw an interview with a guy that had that
That's
happen
horrible.
to him. Yeah.
I'm gonna interject here.
Yeah.
Because I never really got to finish my thought
Mhm.
process on why I disagreed with the death penalty.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Or why I've come to disagree with it, and it comes from a Christian line of thinking.
Mhm.
Um,
Because it's only up to
so
God, right?
and I haven't been able yes, sort of, but it's a little bit further than that.
Okay.
I haven't been able to sort out war yet and within my own mind, so I'm not
Yeah.
Fair.
even
Yeah, that's a
gonna
really
go
complicated
there.
issue. Yeah.
It's a complicated issue, and even in self-defense, to me, in recent times in my line of thinking, is complicated because of the stance that I'm about to give.
Mhm.
Is if the state imprisons somebody and sentences them to death,
Mhm.
then if
Yeah.
they don't accept Christ before they die, then you're essentially sending them
To hell,
No,
yeah.
you're
to
right.
hell.
Yeah.
And so you're taking away their ability to accept Christ. And
Yeah.
God put everybody on earth, in my own moral opinion, for a
Yeah.
reason, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if we sentence someone to death before they're able to accept Christ, then
Yeah.
it's, to me, in my eyes, that would not be just in the eyes of God,
Mhm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I assume that that's correct.
Yeah. For this reason, it seems to not really make this doesn't really make sense to me, that that's how it works. Because, like, that means that because maybe some random idiot kills you, right? And you just happen to not believe in Christ at that moment, and now you're gonna suffer for eternity because of that stupid idiot simply killing you. Then,
Well,
yeah, it just doesn't really make
I'm
sense
not
to me.
saying that that is the case. What I'm saying is that you're taking away someone's ability to do that, and in effect, they could have, and I'm not even saying that that person is going to be sent to hell necessarily. But what
Mhm.
I am saying is that I don't think that humans should really have that to take, especially the government. There's something very icky to me about it when it comes to the government, because really, whenever you say the government, people, because the people, well, depending on what government you're under, of course, there's other governments where the people do not control the government. But
Mhm.
I mean, in the United States, I mean, the first few words of our shit is, we the people, and it's
Mhm. Yeah.
not about the idea that the government is making the rules. It's the idea that the people are enforcing the government.
Mhm.
So our
Yeah.
rules in the United States, and I don't even know if they are this way anymore, definitely doesn't seem that way,
No.
Right, but what it was
from
founded
the
on.
way the United States is. But the way it was founded is that the people were putting, controls on the government of they were do, not the other way around. In the past, it was always the kings that were enforcing the rules on the people, and the idea of the
Yeah.
United States was that the people were enforcing the rules on the government. So even particularly in the United States, it's very icky to me, the death penalty, because you're essentially saying that the people have committed that this person should be put to death.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I just
See that line of thought.
I agree with that. I also feel like it's icky that has the power to kill, legally. And not because you need to be killed in self-defense right now, or you're about to kill someone else, but because you have done something so bad, at least we think, and that's why we're gonna murder you. Even like though we don't really need to, we can keep you safely in prison, but we are going to kill you. Like, I mean, it just feels like it's an unnecessary form of violence that just the government just shouldn't do if it doesn't absolutely need to.
Sure.
Yeah, so yeah, we the people can
But I
kill,
definitely
but not the
used to
government.
believe in the death penalty. I definitely did. Thought of it, and the more I thought of it, the more icky it become. And then the Christian
Yeah.
perspective came in and just completely destroyed it. I
So
mean, just
so you were
wrecked it.
not
And that's
were
fair.
you an atheist at one point? You became a Christian, or is that what you're saying? Or
No, I've always been raised Christian. It didn't
oh yeah,
yeah,
it
no,
okay,
never
it's a
really
yeah,
had the effect, but
it's a journey.
conservative Christians definitely believe in the death penalty, but
yeah.
they
That's
are,
true. I've noticed that
Well,
I
tendency.
think,
it's everyone's on a personal journey though, and just because you feel like you have your Christian beliefs figured out
Mhm.
at one point doesn't mean that you won't feel like something has turned that completely upside down in even just a
yeah.
few years. I mean, less than that even. But
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
last time I spoke with Roll Tide about this subject was within the last 2 years. We talked about how we both agreed on the death penalty because
Mhm.
neither of us are particularly fond of pedophiles.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I mean,
Mhm.
things change.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and I was actually raised a very I'm still, a right-leaning person, but I don't consider myself a right-leaning conservative. I consider
Yeah.
myself a right-leaning libertarian.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't believe that um I don't believe the government should control, it has to do
Yeah.
with taxes, it has to do
Yeah.
with, things that you can and can't do with yourself.
Mhm. Yeah.
However, I'm still not a big fan of abortion,
Uh huh.
obviously, but
Right.
you
Yeah.
could have an idea of where that might come from.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, that's probably the only thing that I probably disagree with a lot about libertarians is just the abortion issue, and that's pretty much it.
Right.
Everything else, even from a Christian perspective, I feel like, you don't take away somebody's freedom to do certain things just because they're bad.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
very much agree with
it's
that.
more
You
about
need
personal choice.
specific
You can
arguments that something is extremely immoral before you're making it illegal to do it. You need to have a very good
law.
reason
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah,
make it illegal, because essentially what you're doing when you're making it illegal is that you're making it legal for the government to kidnap you and put you in a cell, lock you up there, because you did something, right? And that something needs to be pretty bad
yeah.
before they should be allowed to do that, right?
Mhm. And
Yeah.
in my opinion, the only reason why they should be able to do that is it comes from said action. Um,
Sorry,
or
sorry.
or
Can you repeat?
something is
Can you repeat
is
that last sentence?
there has to be, I think in my opinion, there should have to be some form of harm.
Yeah,
Some form of
definitely.
harm
Yeah,
that can
yeah,
come
yeah.
to other people.
And you have to prove that there was significant harm done, you know?
Yeah, but it has to be to another person. If you're committing
Oh yeah,
harm on yourself,
absolutely.
that's a
Another
different story.
person. Yeah, yeah, of course. I
Um,
mean, it would
yeah,
not make any sense to put
yeah.
people in jail for attempting suicide. That would be hilariously absurd, you know?
Well, see, that one's a little bit tricky for me.
Okay.
I'm not saying they should go to jail because they attempted suicide, but I think in a way the state should be able to put you. I think the state should be able to put you in a psych ward. I mean,
well, yeah, sure,
because
but
you're
that's
committing harm
different
to
from that.
yourself.
Yeah, that's very different
Yes.
from jail. I mean, we're not locking you up because you did something,
Yeah.
wrong, but we're locking you up to protect you, against yourself. I mean, it's like
From yourself because
yeah,
you're
yeah,
in a
Put 'em in a
state of
straitjacket.
mind.
yeah, it's like we believe that we
just put them in a
are
straitjacket, shove
you,
pills down their throat. Call
yeah,
it good.
yeah, like we believe that you are in danger of like experiencing or going through something horribly bad, and this is an emergency. We don't prefer to do it this way, but we have to be in order to protect you from something extremely bad and maybe even final, like death is. So yeah, I mean, and most people that attempt suicide later change their mind about that, right? And they become happy to be alive. So but it's definitely a dilemma, right? It's not obvious that we have the right to force
Now, one of
anyone to stay alive, you know.
the
It's not obvious, but I mean,
now I do
but it,
have
but it
a
does
qualm though.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was saying I have a qualm a little bit about assisted suicide. I argue
Mhm.
with myself because if someone is about to die from cancer, and the government kill themselves. I don't know how I feel about all that. It makes
Mhm.
me feel icky. It makes me
Yeah.
have another one of those, allowing you to. I don't know.
Yeah. So
It just feels icky.
for me, I wouldn't really say I feel icky about that because yeah, it doesn't creep me out or anything like that. But the thing is that if I think hard about it, right, then I can imagine scenarios that could go horribly wrong. For example, you might have someone that are on uh in the hospital and they're in pretty bad shape and maybe it's probably pretty old and probably gonna die soon, and then there is some person who managed to get in a position where they're trying to inherit something from them or something, get some sort of benefit from their death, and like they kill them and claim that it was assisted suicide, right? But how do we really know or prove that, right? Um, and so at that point, it becomes extremely complicated, to get anywhere in form of finding the truth. Because the only
Yeah.
the only
But
the only
I'm
victim
just always.
is dead, and so maybe it was legal, maybe they wanted to die, but it's not, maybe not, we don't know. So, or maybe they were manipulated
But
to
it certainly
accept
is
it.
illegal to kill yourself here.
Well, I mean, that's
You
absurd to
can't
me.
be.
Like if I'm trying to do something to myself, even if it's
You're
bad, I
dead.
mean, I should have the right to do that. I feel like
But
I'm.
it is illegal.
Yeah, okay. It's still weird, in my opinion. Like, who are you guys to punish me for doing something to myself, even if it is bad? If I'm doing it to myself, I'm taking all the consequences. Like, what are you talking about? I have to be kidnapped and put in a cell, or given a fine or whatever the punishment is. That seems absurd. Okay, so I try to do something bad to myself, and now I have to pay you. Like what? Do you own my body or something? Oh man.
Yeah, but no, suicide is weird in the United States though for sure.
Yeah.
Because they don't charge you if you try and fail. They do throw you in the psych ward where you belong. However, if you do successfully kill yourself, you're not in good legal standing even when you're dead because your family members can't collect insurance policy money on you because you killed yourself.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can understand why it is like that, even if that may seem really heartless. But at the same
Yeah.
time, is it right that it is like that? I mean, it's understandable because like they wanted
I
and
think
planned and
that it
intentionally.
is.
Yeah.
I have
Like,
to say, that policy has probably prevented a number of suicides. Just saying.
huh.
Oh
That's
yeah,
an,
for
that's
sure.
a
No, I'm
that's
saying
an
that it
interesting
should be that
perspective.
way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because
I mean,
listen. If you feel like life is miserable enough that you're done, right? But you know that your family will suffer if you take yourself out of the picture, you might not do it.
yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Well, yeah, but you
Yeah, there's a
also
lot of
wouldn't want to
people,
do it
a
because
lot of people
if
that.
you was to go put yourself like let's see here.
I mean, there's
If you put like
absolutely.
$1 million insurance policy on yourself and kill yourself, obviously that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's a good example of why they don't do that. Yeah.
Well, this has been a good mind exercise.
Yeah, I'm getting really tired. Like
I'm a little bit done with it now.
Yeah, the sun is
Yep.
rising up here in Norway, and I'm just like lying in bed, eyes half open. So.
Damn, son.
Yeah.
I forget. Yeah, you're like 6 hours ahead, right? Is it
Yeah.
7? I guess it would be like 7 hours ahead.
Yeah, that sounds correct. Yeah.
That's actually kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
My boy's been up all night debating with us.
Yeah, it's been enjoyable.
Not even really debating, just having a good conversation.
Yeah,
A
but you know
little
what I mean. Like, it's a heavy
debating.
conversation.
Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah, like a
mental exercise.
friendly, peaceful debate.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, for me, debate is not a dirty word. I like debate, you know?
You know what I would call it?
Uh-huh.
You know what I would call it?
Yeah, what?
I would call it a friendly disagreement.
There you go. Yeah, that works.
Really disagreement. Also, really good talk. I really enjoyed our little
Yeah, that's
death
good. I'm
penalty
glad.
part of the
Yeah,
conversation. That
I
was
enjoyed
nice.
it too.
Me too. Especially because it's very fascinating for me to new perspective on that.
Yeah.
I'm actually very interested because you actually were arguing
I was arguing what?
principles. I said, Arian here, he was arguing principles.
You're
Are you a
cutting out.
libertarian?
Wait a minute.
What?
I'm not.
What is going on?
Because Roleplayed is, sorry, because Discord is glitchy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I'm not hearing properly what you're saying.
Right. He was asking what your viewpoints are, whether or not you're a libertarian.
Oh, well, in some ways, I guess libertarianism.
Well, yeah, hold on, he's back now. So I asked him the question for you.
Yeah, so I guess in some ways, yeah, I really agree with libertarian principles. Because I feel like, especially the libertarian principle of what is it called? Like something non-aggression principle or something?
Oh, the NAP, the non-aggression principle.
Yeah, something like that. Like if you're not kind of pushing consequences onto someone, then what you do should always be legal, you know? Something like that. I really like that principle,
Yeah,
and I feel like
I've
I feel like laws should be made with this principle in mind, and that is that if there's not a really good reason why this should be illegal, then don't make it illegal. That's
right.
to make it illegal is like a thing that it should only be used as a necessary evil. You should be avoided if if it can, you know. So yeah, because to make something illegal creates a lot of consequences, bad consequences, and like it creates work for the government. It creates trouble for the people, and it should only be used if there's like a really clear undoubtedly clear benefit, and and also like it is morally defensible, you know. So yeah, I
Right.
mean,
I laughed really hard though. There's an extreme version of the things that we're thinking about, but
mhm.
instead of it being libertarian, have you ever heard of anarcho-capitalism?
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm for me it's pretty obvious that anarchy would never work ever in the history of ever.
I'm not arguing for it. I'm just asking if you've heard of it.
Yeah, sure. Probably I've heard more often about anarcho communism, but yeah, sure. I'm pretty sure I've heard the other one as well. Um,
But I was just gonna bring up the fact there's some hilarious memes online if you ever look up ANCAP memes, and
mhm.
it's like shit like, well,
Oh yeah,
there's
ANCAP.
not a
That's right.
state,
I've heard that several
therefore
times
you
actually.
have the right. Yeah,
Yeah.
ANCAP. So that's what it stands for, is anarcho-capitalism. And
Mhm.
so it's
Yeah.
like, well, there's no government state, there's only the private security force, and if the private security force is not around and somebody violates the NAP, if someone blows some leaves onto your property violating the NAP, you have the full right to launch nuclear missiles to their house.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
of
just some
course.
funny ass
Oh
shit.
man, yeah, that's funny, man. Holy shit.
Crazy.
Yeah, but okay, yeah. Right. Yeah, because they forced
No, they
you know
violated the
they
NAP and
yeah,
blew some
exactly. I mean,
grass onto
yeah,
your property. Yeah.
and no, who's anyone to say in an anarchy that you are not in your full right to defend your property, you know? Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's
But
essentially
but that's
those kind of
actually
memes are the very
is
reason
a
why I declare myself a libertarian and
yeah, but
not an ANCAP. You know.
exactly. That's a very good example of or thought experiment, whatever you want to call it. That anarcho anything, you know, anarchy would just never work, you know, because people will feel or you know fool themselves into feeling that they have the right to do you know all kinds of crazy things, you know. It would just be a horrible hell immediately, you know. Maybe okay, maybe not the first 5 minutes,
Yeah.
you know, but
Right.
There's
It would collapse too quickly.
absolutely. I mean,
You know,
like
it's kind of like
you
this. Look,
just like it would take 10 minutes and then there would be not anarchy anymore
mhm.
because someone would have taken the power again, you know.
It reminds me of exactly. It kind
Mhm.
of reminds me a little bit of the issue I had with a specific member that violated our rules multiple times, and we decided to let him back in for what was his eighth chance, you know.
Oh, okay.
And I had some people, yeah, uh,
Yeah, that's
I
pretty
had some
stupid.
people that reached out to me that were very well, yeah. Well, sometimes groups of people are. It can be difficult to navigate certain certain situations, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But anyway,
I
I had some
yeah.
people. I had some people reach out to me that were concerned about his return, and I was like, guys, relax. This guy doesn't want to be here. He's just going to disrupt things. Don't feed into it. He'll take care of himself. Don't worry about it. And within 3 days, yeah, he got himself kicked out again. So I mean, it's like, you know, some issues have the answer to themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Do you know that I've actually I can give a good example of where I've did that.
Yeah.
But what you were just talking about is I've actually purposefully loaned someone money that I did not expect to get back, just for the
Right.
sheer
I've done that
fact
before.
that they would not, just for the sheer ability to not,
To feel morally superior.
not to well, I don't want to think of it from that perspective, but it's closer to what you're getting at, is that if you feel like somebody's constantly coming to you asking for little things all the time, then all of a sudden they ask for this, and you give it to them, and then they don't pay you back. You have the full moral authority to be able to say no and never have
good
to
point,
deal with them again.
Yeah, it's actually
it definitely gives you more solid
it
ground.
actually becomes a lesson for them at that point. You know, that they should learn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, okay, well, I can easily point to a reason that like you did something and this is the consequence, and they will more easily understand it now because the proof is right there.
In my experience, but in my experience, people with that mentality, that at least the people I've dealt with that mentality, that they can keep coming to you and asking for more and more, and there's no limit in sight. And maybe you've even, maybe they've even just asked to borrow something and pay you back later, and you've been willing to do that. It doesn't seem to matter how much you do that. They, in my experience, never accept no as an acceptable answer. They will always think that what you're doing to them is cruel when you say no.
Wow, that is just over the top, though. They should be disregarded.
I saw it falling down.
Well, I'm with you on
because
that.
I've borrowed money
that...
to multiple people that never paid it back, but like I don't think they would ever have the audacity to come for money a second time, either of them. Like two people at least.
Or if they did, hopefully they would acknowledge that they've already borrowed money and haven't paid it back, and at least tell you, hey, I am very sorry, but I'm in a desperate place. You know. No, the person I'm talking about.
They weren't really in a desperate place either.
Sure.
You know, like one of them simply didn't have enough money to, you know, like do the tattoo that he wanted in when we were on a school trip to some place, Poland or something. And the other
that's
one.
very nice of you.
Yeah. Even though, like, especially like in adulthood, like I'm totally against tattoos. I think they're so aesthetically horribly ugly. And that's not even because like I think they are morally wrong. I absolutely do not. I like this. There's nothing morally wrong about it, but aesthetically, it's just absolutely horrible.
You know, I'm somewhere in the middle. I think that some tattoos are aesthetically pleasing, but I don't think they all are. And I think most of them are not. I also think that there's a certain degree of subtlety that goes a long way.
I will grant you a very specific nuance in which I can appreciate that some tattoos look kind of cool, but then at the same time they still you know, kind of take away from the natural beauty of the body as a whole.
Sure.
You know? Yeah. Even though the tattoo in itself looks kind of cool some rare times. So yeah, sure. But...
Well, for me, it's not even that. It's more, I don't know. I don't have a problem with people expressing themselves, you know, and wanting to tattoo themselves. I take no issue with that whatsoever.
No, well, I mean, I don't have a moral.
It's more for me that I don't always find it.
It's simply a
Right.
matter of
Neither do I.
aesthetics. I just
Even though
think
I
it
think
looks
it's-
horrible. Like 99% of the time, I think
No,
it
I'm with
looks
you. I
absolutely
agree with you. I
horrible.
think-
Yeah. Especially on girls, you know.
I'm actually in agreement with you. Most
Yeah.
tattoos,
Yeah.
most tattoos, I don't agree
But
with
also on men.
you in that
actually.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
but there there's one point that I wanted to make, and that's that in the cases where it does actually look good, there's
Mhm.
something in the back of my mind that reminds me that that's temporary.
Yeah, and that makes it more okay.
But-
Or
No,
oh, okay.
it
All right.
to me, it makes it seem more wasteful. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I just can't really be bothered. It's really
Yeah.
not even an issue to me in the least bit.
Yeah, as I told another girl, is that I feel like you're putting a sticker on gold, you know. It's like because your body
Right.
is,
Well, I get
you
that.
know, like I mean, not everyone looks attractive, of course, but if
What
you
up, dude?
do, and then you put a tattoo on it, I feel like, you know, that's a perfectly valid, metaphor, you know. Yeah, because like your body looks good,
think
and then you put some sort of frivolous little picture on that sexy body, beautiful body. You know, it's like, no, thank you. It's like, oh yeah, it's like I want to think about that random slogan when I'm looking at your beautiful body. No, I don't. Like, oh yeah, like a random. I don't know, knife or rose over here, and then some thorns maybe, and a heart. That's not. Yeah, and
You sound closer and closer to Christian Western philosophy the more you talk.
Right.
Well, I
Yeah, no
mean,
doubt.
I mean, it's just because I simply happen to agree randomly on certain points.
No, I know. It's just that you know, within Christianity, it's your body is your temple, so don't mark or mar your body. That's the-
But I don't
Yeah.
I don't like agree
again,
like
even-
with the
even
temple
so.
notion exactly, because that implies that, you know, like, oh yeah,
No, I understand the
never
point.
have sex outside of marriage and all that, which I very much disagree with. But at the same time, like I'm not saying that you should have sex, you know, a lot or anything. Like if it's right for you to have, you know, only sex with
All
one
I'm-
person that you marry,
All I'm bringing back,
then that's great.
all I'm going to bring back up is, again, there's a huge difference between what humans think is morally acceptable and what God thinks is morally acceptable. And the Christian rule on that is based on what God says is acceptable. There are many people who are happy to live in polyamorous relationships, and that works for them. That makes them happy, at least for a while. You know, not necessarily forever, but it's a different conversation. But either way,
Yeah, sure.
You know,
I mean, I like Christians like
you're-
to think
if
that
life
we're
were-
all alike in the sexual department. I just don't think so. I actually feel like it's pretty obvious that we're not, you know.
well, no, I'm actually wondering what you mean by that, because I don't think that's true.
Well, I mean, like we all would actually like to reach true happiness. We all should be in a monogamous relationship with a person of the opposite sex that we have married, and you know, stick with that person for the only for the rest of our lives. I just don't think it makes sense to
Well, I don't think that.
believe that
I don't think
that's the
that
case
necessarily
for
is where.
all humans. Yeah.
Right. Well, I don't think that's necessarily what all Christians believe. Right? Is that that's the only thing that people truly, really want. What Christians are saying is that that's what God truly wants for us. And again, there's that
Yeah, but
difference
why does he
between
want
what
that
we
for us?
view
So
as more
it's
important
because
than what God
that's
does.
what truly will make
I don't
us
know.
happy, or the most
that's-
happy.
That's
No,
that's
no,
God's
listen.
that's God's
there's
perspective,
someone
right?
else in
He's the
here.
one
Cool.
that is. Yeah, God is the
Hello.
one that he's the supreme perfect being who has the ability to he determined what is and isn't righteous, right? So our standards on what is and isn't righteous aren't grounded in the truth. His are. So what I'm trying to say with that is a human could be perfectly happy in a sinful marriage, right? But that's not going to make God happy. That's the difference there.
Okay.
So that's why Christians say that you shouldn't do that. It's because you want to make God happy, right? But Christians prioritize making God happy over so that's where that line of thought comes from.
Oh, okay.
But
okay, interesting.
again, I've actually reached
But
a point
because
where
like I feel
understand
like that creates a problem because if that's just what God wants, then like where is His authority to put that to rule onto us and expect that of us? Because if that's not what makes us the happiest, then
well,
who
that's
is he
kind of
to
the thing.
decide
I don't
that?
know that he expects it of us. That's the thing, though, is I don't think that's what he's expecting of us. That's him acknowledging the truth, which is that is ultimately what is righteous and what it is ultimately what he would want righteous, right? But we're not necessarily.
Yeah, but
and that's why he
isn't-
sent his son here to cleanse us of our sins,
Uh,
because he knows that we're not perfect.
Yeah. But then again, like if there's like if the reason for his rule isn't to make us happier, then like what is the reason? Right. The normal explanation I hear.
The reason for his laws is just because they're what's righteous.
Yeah, but what makes them righteous?
It's just the truth.
Okay.
Because he's the supreme perfect being. I think, honestly, if his followed to a T, then there probably would be a lot more peace and happiness on Earth. But humans are imperfect. I mean, you can't look at the world right now and tell me that you think that the world that we've created for ourselves is really even that good, to be honest. I mean, there are good things in it, yes, but there's a lot of unnecessary suffering is the result of human choice.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like for me, the only thing that would justify a moral rule or perspective is that it would, predict or lead to a more peaceful or happy outcome. Otherwise, like it's just a rule and it's a meaningless one, right? If it doesn't include more happiness or at least less suffering, at least, and I mean, and in that sense, I mean, like less extreme suffering, because I believe, as I've said before, that a little suffering is actually good, but extreme suffering is always bad.
I really do think that we should just do the podcast I've always talked about. Right?
Yeah, man.
You remember whenever I started a Discord server? I started a Discord server, and I already know what we would call the podcast. It would be called the Armchair Intellectuals.
I remember this.
Well, is that a reference to something, or did you just
Armchair Intellectuals?
Is it a reference to something?
I literally just came up with it. I was thinking no, I came up with it. It was an idea. I had a whole server of people who were just interested in talking about ideas and having debates and peaceful debates about different subjects and whatnot. And we kind of just let it go because we all had like our own shit going on. But there was at least I think there was like at least 7 or 8 of us in there, and it was called Armchair Intellectuals, and I always had a dream that we should start like a podcast, and it would just be us talking about issues like we've been talking about.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
And I came up with a name because obviously we're not super like well-known people or anything. We're just
Mhm.
people that are just sitting in our armchairs.
Yeah,
and,
it's
but
like
we're
a
talking about
relaxed.
intellectual thoughts. You know,
Yeah.
the armchair intellectuals. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a relaxed name
That makes a
that
lot of
kind of
sense, but
prepares the audience that we're not gonna, be very, I don't know, like highly known or something.
Aggressive. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. We're not super well-known people. We're just people talking about stuff that are interesting subjects and debates
Yeah.
on interesting things. You know.
Yeah,
well, but
and
it's certainly not
we
too late.
air certain interesting arguments that we want to hear the other people's take on it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it. I'm ready. When do we start?
He said, "Let's do it."
Can we start in a second?
I have a
Are we
couple of other
starting right
people that
now?
could be
Okay,
brought
okay.
in.
Let
I
me
think it would be.
let me start this off. Like so.
Said, let me start this. I think that
so
a good platform for it would
Uh-huh.
actually be Twitch, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Fair enough.
Twitch deletes your videos after a certain time. I feel
Well,
like
that's fine.
that's kind of
Because I
well, I
like
mean,
the idea of the live stream.
well, I mean, I don't like the fact that you don't have control over whether it stays up or not. Because I like for like things to last
Well,
because
we don't have
I'm putting
we don't
work
have any
in it.
control on what stays up or not anymore.
Yeah, on YouTube you do. It stays
Yeah,
until you
absolutely. I
delete it.
agree with
You
that.
know? Yeah.
It depends on your content. It depends on your content.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if it's breaks the rules of YouTube, then they take it down. But if
It
not,
doesn't have
then
to break the rules of YouTube either. It just has to upset the wrong people.
well, yeah, I get.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, that's
I
true.
guess that's true. But at the same time, um, like if like
All I'm
unless
saying is,
you're really unlucky that way, and
I
it probably has to set a group of people, right, that are spamming the report button or something,
certain
right?
political affiliation.
Yeah, but
Yeah. Well, a good example of
other
this
than
is whenever
that,
Joe
I mean,
Rogan signed on to Spotify.
it's not gonna go down unless you take it down, and I like that because I put work in that. I don't want it taken down automatically because of no reason.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I'm with you. I was pissed whenever all my Xbox clips got deleted. I had so many good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot too. But my thing is with a good example of what Revan's talking about was Joe Rogan signed an agreement with Spotify for a ridiculous amount of money, and he had made podcasts with Alex Jones, which is obviously a very controversial figure. A lot of people hate him, don't like him, and Spotify took those episodes of the podcast down. And
Yeah.
it pissed Rogan off so much that he didn't renew the same contract that he had with them.
Oh. Oh yeah.
So he's now able to put his content on other platforms besides just Spotify. So.
Okay. Oh, okay. So it was with Spotify. All right. Yeah.
And something I want to mention, the reason I bring up that kind of censorship is just because of if we're going to have a podcast talking about anything in the intellectual realm, that's going to bring up politics and religion and lots of other similar subjects, and
Yeah.
sometimes people will try to censor that kind of conversation.
Of course. I mean, we should always
So it's
record a
likely that
backup that we can either re-upload or upload somewhere else,
Well, there's platforms for that too.
Yeah, and I'm
Anyway,
happy about
I'm
that.
trying to
I'm glad the
I'm
internet
trying to
is
relax
free and
my mind and play Halo at this point. Just some casual quick play maybe. I'm not really even in the mood
I'm
for ranked
down.
anymore.
I'm down for casual quick play. That's exactly my mind right now too. Where it's at.
Yeah.
So
What about you, Duke? You
Casual.
down? Yeah, you down for some?
maybe
let
even
me-
some
Hey, Roll Tide.
silly custom games or something.
We missed all of those. There were hella good custom games we could have gone to, but waiting.
What do you mean?
Roll Tide.
Where good?
Oh, they did a whole
ones?
practice. There's like what eight of you guys?
Something like that.
Oh,
Yeah, we missed a CFG practice, but it's all right.
well,
Hey, Roll Tide.
that's
You want to come
absolutely
play some Halo?
horrible. I mean, how can I go on living happily now?
As much
Nah.
as I don't know. As much as I
Yeah.
would enjoy playing with you guys, I don't know if there's too much more that I would make me want to off myself illegally than playing
What?
Halo.
Oh, come on, bro. You're
Illegal?
playing.
What? Weren't you the guy that said Halo Infinite is good? And then and I joked about that being
No.
so
No,
offensive.
that was someone else.
Oh, okay.
That's
alright.
definitely someone else. I do.
Oh, you don't even like it? That's even more offensive.
I don't.
No,
I don't like it the way I
The
used to
penalty
like
shall
it.
be really harsh.
Yeah, I think that's yeah. Don't take his consideration that way. He loves Halo. He just
Oh, okay.
Infinite.
All right. Forgiveness
I
shall
guess-
be
I guess-
Let my dick in a door.
exerted upon you.
I don't like Infinite's version of Halo. I'm
and
a
I
agree.
original Halo player. I like
I really
I
still
liked
think
Halo
it's poor
2.
gameplay.
I liked whenever Halo was pure. You know,
I want to
didn't
point something out.
like it
I
now.
want to point something out. I still think the core gameplay on Infinite is fun and worth playing, but one thing that I really hate, and it makes me feel like Halo has really lost its soul, is the fact that almost all of the armor is microtransaction instead of having some way of earning it for free, which there have been so many Halo titles now
I
that where
actually
it
only
was
needed one.
expected that
and-
you be able to
and-
unlock the armor.
I actually only needed one, and that happened to be the one that you could earn by, working. And so, it's not really
Right.
something that
Well, that's fair, but
yeah.
I want to point something out to you.
Yeah.
There's a set of armor that I can't remember. It's $20 or $25, something like that, if you want to have enough of the points to buy it. And that set of armor, it was the first concept of Halo armor that ever existed. It's the Mark V armor from Halo 1. I mean, Combat Evolved, right? So, I mean, like, how are you really expecting me to shell out a fourth of the cost of a full video game for the first set of armor that they ever came up with? That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah. Yeah, the original
My
armor.
qualm with the game. Oh no!
Yeah.
It's my
The
bad.
original armor should
my
be
qualm,
like a standard. I agree with that. It should be free to use.
Or even if it was locked behind experience and levels and in-game credits like the Spartan points, something like that, it wouldn't feel that
sure,
that
would
gross to me.
actually
But the
be
fact that they
an
wanted
even better
my actual money,
Yeah.
yeah, the fact they wanted my
I
actual
agree
money
with
for that was kind of upsetting to me.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
And again, I'm more than happy to buy a video game. Okay, I'm more than happy to give them my money for the product, right? But I don't want to have to give them my money 18 different times over for every little piece of armor in it.
You're fucking.
No, but are you gonna?
My issue with Halo
like,
Infinite,
are there
if I could
18
say,
different armors that you need to pay for that you actually want?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I fucking love all of them. I want them all.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
But problem is,
because there are, significant amount of armor that you actually, can use for free, or even some parts you can earn. But yeah, I mean,
yeah, a significant amount is not 100% though, and that's my point. Is every other Halo before this, 100% of the armor was available without using real money to obtain it.
Yeah.
My
Anyway.
issue with this Halo is movement speed.
Movement speed,
That's
that's
it.
fair. I get it.
That's it.
I'm
Because
the
the movement
opposite.
speed
I'm the
determines everything else.
Okay, well, I'm the opposite. I love.
You said that about Halo 5 as well, and I loved Halo 5.
problem with Halo is movement speed. It's not even got to do with sprint. Now it's just about movement speed. Halo 5 was great compared, in my opinion, to this game. Because the movement speed also influences the size of
I'm
maps.
too tired,
So
guys.
I think
It's
that
Absolutely.
the core of what
oh yeah,
Halo
yeah,
is no longer the same because
yeah.
the maps are too big.
It's 5:37 here, and
I lo-
I'm just about ready to go to bed. But this was really nice, and let's do it again. You know. I feel I'm
I'm
so
done.
happy about just having this idea and just randomly seeing you online and inviting you. That seemed to be a good idea. You know. So yeah.
All right, yo.
Thank you guys.
If you're joining for quick play, then come join.
Yeah, I'm not.
Absolutely.
joining.
Are you getting offline?
I'm getting off because I'm really fucking tired,
Okay,
man.
okay.
Yeah. I
Fair
feel
enough,
like if
man.
I stay up longer, I'm gonna face
Alright.
some serious consequences. Nah, I'm messing, but you know, yeah.